It's America's home for political play-by-play. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Friday afternoon, Friday, August 21st, 2026. The Owen Report is with you for the next 3 hours. Your home for political play-by-play. The fastest 3 hours on the internet starts now. We got a bit of a medium news desk today. Some heavy stuff. It's really just a couple of stacks, not too diverse in the news. We've got big foreign policy. We've got big geopolitics. We've got, now this is mostly the ongoing situation in the Middle East. Now, more tense. The new addition is Israel, for whatever reason, is now pedal to the metal on starting this war with Turkey. And the assumption was that Turkey was always going to be their next target after Iran. So, Israel calls up the U.S. military and demands we go into Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, you name it. Now it's Iran, and we figured, okay, when Israel's work is done in Iran, thanks to the U.S. military, U.S. taxpayer, again, more U.S. blood and treasure for Israel, you figured then they would start the war with Turkey. And we've been seeing this build up. We've been seeing all their agents, all their provocateurs, all their propagandists in the West kind of greasing the skids, getting you ready for the next war and aiming it at Turkey. But now, for whatever reason, they've decided they want to do it now. For whatever reason, Israel's decided they want to start the war with Turkey before we can even finish the job with Iran. And there's a reason for this. There has to be a reason for this. My assumption, and I'm going to break this down today with the developments, but my assumption is that Israel is now trying to start a massive war. I mean, what does world war even mean anymore? I don't know. I guess the concept, the historical context, world war is all these different countries, troops on the ground, fighting, shooting at one another, blowing each other up. I don't know if that happens. I don't know if that ever happens again. But for all intents and purposes, Israel is trying to start or escalate what is already a world war. My assumption now is that they're doing this ahead of the midterms and ahead of Netanyahu's reelection bid because they don't think the results are going to go well. In fact, if I wanted to be extremely conspiratorial today, I would say Israel and maybe Trump want to start a larger war so that they can cancel elections like Netanyahu has been doing. Now, I'm not predicting that is going to happen. I'd say the odds are against that right now, but the odds of that are not zero. The odds of that went up today with this escalation of Israel and Turkey. And so there's other things that are happening that I'm going to explain where this is going. And you had to figure, with all the different developments here, you had to figure eventually there was going to be a coalition in the international community that was going to stand up to Israel or to the United States or the faction of the two of them and say, look, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough death, enough destruction, enough taking land, enough raping and pillaging and killing and stealing. Enough is enough. Turkey might be that. I think the international community is kind of letting Iran handle it. They're keeping an eye on the strait. They're keeping an eye on the markets. They don't want to get too involved. Just trying to keep things balanced. Turkey could be the domino that causes the rest of them to fall. So we're really going to analyze that. That's one big stack of news. You've got Trump announcing he wants to bring in the beef. He wants to bring in 300 tons of foreign beef. Now, of course, we had our cattle rancher on yesterday, and we were talking about a different story. I spoke to a couple different cattle ranchers, farmers today, just to see where they're at with this. It's not good. The farmers don't like this at all. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time going through all the different commentary from farmers. I do have one thing I'm going to read to give you an idea, because this was the best encapsulation of what I'm hearing from the farmers today with this news from Trump. You know, to me, it just represents, which is a trend of this administration. The Trump administration makes a decision. The decision ends up being the wrong decision, and then they have to fix it. So it's like the Trump administration is drilling holes in the boat and then coming back later and trying to fill the holes. And I would say this is another example of that. And then there's some other odds and ends. You know, I think we can at this point. I mean, the Natalie Harp thing was a total Ruth right here.
And that's another home run from the great Babe Ruth.
And now you've got these letters that Harp is sending to Trump. I mean, this is crazy, guys. And, you know, there's probably not too many men that actually have experience with something like this. Getting letters like this, love letters, you know, pouring their guts out. I know what this represents, guys. I mean, I don't think I need to say it, but let's just say there's probably few men that you might say are experts on love letters like this. I might just happen to be one of them. So I'm going to tell you what this all represents to me. I'm going to tell you what it all represents to me. But I'd say that was, I mean, boy, oh boy, were we ahead of everybody else on that one. You've got the story about the ballroom today. The Supreme Court is going to allow Trump to continue construction on the ballroom. You know, it's kind of being misreported, actually. Justice Roberts has given Trump a green light, but it's not a permanent green light. The Supreme Court has not decided. My interpretation is that Trump is making the case. It's kind of like ask for forgiveness instead of permission. And I think that the Trump legal argument is, look, we've already started this construction. We can't just leave this thing sitting here. It's an eyesore. It's gross. And there's stuff that just has to be done, because if it's not, there's going to be structural problems. So I think John Roberts said, all right, handle what has to be done. But the ballroom itself, as far as like building the actual ballroom, I don't really think that that's the green light yet. Who knows if it even happens? So my interpretation is, I'm gonna give the details of it. Roberts has said, while we're still deciding the case at the Supreme Court, we'll allow some of the construction to continue. So I'm guessing that means whatever the military base thing is underground, whatever the big military tech room that they're building underground, the war room they're building underground, they'll allow that to continue. And then there's probably just basic structural things at the surface level that just have to be done for just engineering standards, whatever. But as far as the ballroom, I don't think that is actually going up. I don't think we're going to see construction of the ballroom quite yet. Who knows? Maybe Trump at this point figures we've got a window of time here. Let's go pedal to the metal and let's just build it and then ask for forgiveness instead of permission. So I kind of interpret it like that. But it's not really a full green light as it's being interpreted in the media today. You can continue some construction while the Supreme Court is still deciding the case. So we'll take a look at that. We got some other fun stuff, some other disturbing stuff in the news today. All of that and more coming up in today's Owen Report. Today's show is brought to you by the official water filter of the Owen Report, the Cove Pure Water Filtration Systems. Folks, everybody that gets one of these, well, I don't know I can't say everybody has thanked me. I can't say everybody has reached out and thanked me. But of all the people that have gotten a Cove Pure Water Filtration System and reached out, all of them have told me how much they love it. In fact, some of them, and this is just great news for our sponsors, they love this. Some some people who have purchased a Cove Pure water filtration system from covepure.com/Owen, they have family, they have friends over, and they ask, wow, this water filter is amazing. Where did you get this? And they send them to the website. So these things sell themselves. These things sell themselves. You put this thing on your kitchen counter, friends and family come over, they're going to want one. So tell them to go to covepure.com/Owen. We're selling water filters on the show site to people that don't even listen to the show. That's how good this thing is. That's all I should have to say. And if you don't have a water filter by now, what are you doing? covepure.com/Owen. Do I even need to tell you about the specifics here? I mean, I can. It's right there on the screen. Reverse osmosis purity, realkalizes the water, hot water, cold water, instantly. You can pick the temperature of your water. You can pick how much water you want, 6 ounces, 8 ounces, 16 ounces. It's all right there on the screen. A removable pitcher that refills itself. I can go on and on. Get the water filter straight out of the future. I swear this thing is like space age technology. covepure.com/Owen. Folks, it is still the 250th birthday of the country. And for that, $250 off at covepure.com/Owen. You heard that right. To celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States of America, they're offering their water filtration systems for $250 off. Go to covepure.com/Owen. Get your Cove Pure water filtration system. Celebrate America's birthday and get $250 off your filtration system at covepure.com/Owen.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Okay. Before we get into the news today, I can't help but get into some of this MAGA divide again. But it's not even a MAGA divide. I don't know what we want to call it at this point. The MAGA cult, the MAGA zombies coming after us. We all know what I'm talking about. And boy, oh boy, have we drawn them out, guys. We have drawn them out. I don't want to say too much because on this whole internet drama thing, which I'm not really into. I just like doing news. I don't get into the infighting. I don't get into the personality conflicts and fights and this person versus that person and all the different ones that happen. And I don't really do that. Sometimes I might cover it. But when it gets aimed at me, when they come after me, that's when I'll bring it to the show. And so you've got this whole Bongino team coming after me now, and I don't think it's the whole team. I don't know much about the Bongino show anymore. I mean, I used to follow it very religiously. I knew the team. I don't know if the whole team that was once there is still there. So I don't know if the whole team is against me now. But Sean and Dan are coming after me. Apparently, he even did a whole segment about me. I don't know. I guess nobody watches the show, so I'm not seeing it. But he's obviously watching this show. They're all watching, by the way. I mean, in case you guys haven't figured it out.
It's your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast, The Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
We don't just say that. I would even say I'm thinking about adding a new liner here. It's the biggest, smallest show on the internet. It's the biggest, smallest show on the internet. We don't have millions of followers on X or on YouTube. We don't get millions of views every day. We do well. Between all the different sources of the show, we get about 50,000 listeners a day. That's about the average. And so it's the biggest little show on the internet. But they all listen. They're all listening. And for you guys that listen to the show, for you guys that are the daily listeners, that I love you. You will maybe recognize something Dan Bongino said yesterday. Or was that this morning? No, he posted this morning. He says, why? Because I'm the biggest obstacle to the doomer, grifter, pillar, panicans. That's why. Guys, what did I say? I don't even remember. It was sometime this week. Was it yesterday? I think it was the first time the Bongino team came after me this week. Kind of what started all of this. And what did I say? I said, the reason they're coming after me is because I'm exposing them. I'm their obstacle. I'm the one that's stopping their propaganda from being effective. I'm the one hitting the barbed wire, calling them out. I'm the one throwing myself out there like bait, and then they all start nipping at me, and I say, what did I say you disagree with? And they can't answer the question. This is basically a copy and paste from my monologue about that. I mean, this is unbelievable. I have to tell you, I'm pinching myself. It's amazing. It's really Twilight Zone, guys. I've got Savage responding to stuff I do. I've got Jones talking about my stuff. I've got Bongino talking about my stuff. I'm in basically a glorified bedroom studio in Austin that is probably too small for me to even be in, running this whole show by myself, just having fun, just having a blast with it. And now all the guys that I used to listen to are all looking at me. It's very strange. In a good way. In a good way. I say that. I say that's in a good way. But no, what's strange about it is, I just don't understand. Does Dan think that people will forget he actually worked at the FBI? Does Dan think that people will forget the 10 years that brought him to the top of conservative broadcasting? The 10 years that brought him there, and he talked about the criminals in the Obama administration, and he talked about the criminals in the Biden administration, and then he was at the FBI for less than a year, and there were no prosecutions? I don't even think there was an indictment, so much as an indictment. Nothing that ever got legs. And he's saying that, what are we talking about? Where are these obstacles? How are the American people talking politics? How is political discourse in America? How is dissident right, let's say frustration, dissident right, righteous indignation? How is this an obstacle to anything? We have no agency. We have no power. We weren't at the FBI. We're not in the DOJ. We're not even allowed on Fox News. We're certainly not going to be allowed at the White House or Mar-a-Lago anytime soon. How are we an obstacle to anything? But this gets right to the point. And I think Dan is responding to exactly what I said this week, because this is basically a mirror reverse image of what I said. We're the obstacle because we stand in the way of their propaganda. And that's all they have. Who's the obstacle to 20 million deportations? Who is the obstacle to stopping H-1B visas and workers from coming into this country from India? Who's the obstacle? Who's the obstacle stopping deep state arrests? Who's stopping this, Dan? Who is the obstacle here? It's not me. I'm in a small little bedroom studio in Austin, Texas. I mean, Dan, who's the obstacle, Dan? Certainly it's not me, not innocent old me. I like to go to the pool. I like to play basketball and play soccer and go out to dinner with friends. I'm not in D.C. I don't even go to D.C. Who's the obstacle here, Dan? Oh, I see. Now, we're an obstacle to your propaganda, Dan. We're an obstacle to your embarrassment, Dan. We're not the ones that started a new war with Iran. We're not the reason Americans are coming back in body bags. And I'm not even saying you are. I'm not even blaming that on you. We're sitting here looking at what we voted for. and we're not getting it, we are not the obstacles. So if there's any obstacle here, it's that we're telling the truth and you guys are pushing propaganda for the administration. We are telling the truth in that Americans are frustrated. Trump voters specifically are very upset with the results. We are a representation of that. There's no amount of propaganda that the Trump cult can put out that's going to answer these questions that we have. So we're just the obstacle to your propaganda being effective. We're just the obstacle to the Trump ego train, to the Trump TV show being effective and brainwashing America. So it seems that we are an obstacle to all the lies coming out of D.C. It seems that we are an obstacle to all the propaganda and traitorous activity that's coming out of D.C. It seems that we're an obstacle to that because we're certainly not an obstacle for any policy. You can't blame the people that like to talk about politics online or have political debates or discourse or host shows like I do. Certainly you can't blame us for anything happening in D.C. That makes no sense, Dan. So who's the obstacle and what? To what? Who's the obstacle and to what, Dan? What are we talking about here? And I'm sure people will remember you for defending her with your time at the FBI. And you're so confident in that. That's why you're crashing out every day now on your very audience. Dan Bongino treats his own audience worse than he does the deep state. Dan Bongino goes harder after his own listeners than he does after the deep state. It's kind of like Trump, by the way. Trump goes after his own voters more than he does the deep state. Somebody explain that to me. This is all they have, guys. They've been reduced to this. Sean Faresh. Why does he always do this, by the way? Does Sean have like a young daughter that's posting for him? What is this? He's always doing this. It's like, you know, you can type like a grown-up if you want. These people are such losers. Oh, ooh, oh, ma, oh. Oh, I'm so upset, guys. Sean Faresh called us losers. Oh, my God. How will I recover? You got us. Oh, my gosh. Oh, you got Emerald Robinson now. Oh, Sean. Oh, you owned her with that one. Whoa. Whoa. Please. Your IQ is intimidating. Your argument is so intellectual and philosophical, I can't even comprehend it. My God, Sean. Says they need to learn a new song. This one is played out. Isn't that ironic? You're right, Sean. Actually, Sean, you're right. 20 million deportations. I guess it's not happening, huh? Ah, I see. Stopping the H-1B workers from India from coming in here and crushing all the American jobs. I guess we should stop. I guess that song is played out too. No New Wars. Is that song played out too? No New Wars. No more dead Americans coming back from the Middle East. No more coffins and the American flag coming back from the Middle East. I guess that song's played out too. Sean, you like that? Is Sean Faresh for more Americans dying in the Middle East? Is Sean Faresh for more wars? Is that why we're losers, Sean? Because the No New War song is played out. Now it's we do want new wars. So why don't you sing the song for us, Sean? Why don't you sing this? I'd love for Sean to come on air and sing the song he wants us to be singing. Do you want us to be cheering on more war, Sean? Do you want us to be cheering on more H-1B visa workers, Sean? Do you want us to be cheering on more Americans coming back in body bags, Sean? Is that what you want? Do you want us to cheer on that we're going to be losing to the Democrats on illegal immigration? We can't even get 20 million out. We can't even arrest the people that did it. We can't even arrest the deep state. Sean, why don't you sing the new song for us, Sean? Why don't you tell us how Epstein is innocent, Sean? Sing it, Sean. Sing the song. Tell us how Epstein killed himself, Sean. Tell us how Epstein is innocent. There's no evidence here, Sean. Sing the song. Our song is old. Our song is played out. We thought Epstein was a bad guy. We thought Epstein clients would probably go to jail. The whole network would get exposed. And there was no way he killed himself in that cell. But our song is played out according to you. So let's hear you sing it, Sean. Sing it, Sean. Sing it like the proud cult member you are. Sing it like the one-trick pony you are, Sean. Let's hear it. Tell us how new wars are great. Tell us how Epstein is innocent. Tell us how we don't need mass deportations. You sing it, Sean, because we're just losers and we're just played out. Totally not projection, by the way. And it just shows you what frauds these people are. Like Laura Loomer, who goes after J.D. Vance and Tucker Carlson for working with Omid Malik, but won't mention how Don Jr. works with him, won't mention how the Trump family works with him, because she's a fraud. All right. We've got it behind us, guys. We've got we put it behind us. We did the job. We did what had to be done. We did what needed to be done. We can move on. We can move on to the news now. President Trump posts this today. I don't even want to read it. Just put white noise in your head. Trump is bringing in 300,000 tons of imported beef with no tariff. And he says it will be sold at 25% below current market prices. Now, we all know what this is in response to. Obviously, the record high beef prices. So Donald Trump added to his list of accomplishments, record high beef prices, record high ground beef prices, President Trump. MAGA, baby. Winning. So that's why he's doing this. Guys, it's so obvious. I can't even believe that I have to explain this. Remember, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, where Burrito Gate was happening? And people were talking about $20 burritos and all the Trump cultists. Really, it's not even fair to call these people Trump cultists. These are foreign loyalists. These are foreign loyalists that have co-opted MAGA. These are foreign loyalists that have kidnapped Trump. And now they run the show, and they're just lying to everybody. They're selling America out. These are traitors. And so all of the traitors are the ones trying to tell you how great everything is. All the traitors are the ones trying to convince you how great this Trump administration is. And so when you notice that the cost of living is up and you notice you can't even afford basic, fast food even, all of the traitors, all of the foreign loyalists, they all come out and they say, "Oh no, it's great. Oh, look, I can get 8 burritos for $20. I fed my family of 8 for $20. Oh yeah. What a liar. What an absolute lie. So, just a couple weeks ago, they're telling us how cheap burritos are. Remember, stretch your meat. They want us to stretch our beef with refried beans because it's the golden age. So just a few weeks ago, you were telling us how great it is and burritos are cheap and ground beef is cheap. No, actually, the reality is it's so bad and it's so expensive that now Trump is having to get involved and import 300 tons of beef because that's how unaffordable it is right now. So guess what? You're all liars. I want all the Burrito Gate pushers to apologize for lying to this country. But really what you should do is you should apologize for being traitors. Really what you should do is apologize for being foreign loyalists. That's what you should do. Because that's what the whole burrito lie was about. You don't give a damn about the cost of a burrito. You give a damn that it's totally exposed that foreign interests run this administration, and we the people are pissed off about it, and we're finding out all the agents that are responsible for it. That's what you're really pissed off about. So you're trying to convince us, no. Burritos are cheap. Well, if burritos were cheap and ground beef was cheap, then tell me, why is Trump so desperate to bring in ground beef and cut the price by 25%? You're all liars. All of you. You are going to lose so badly. You guys, all of you that are pushing propaganda for this administration, all of you that are pushing propaganda for foreign interest and special interest, you guys are about to expire. Your time of relevancy is about to expire. Nobody is going to listen to any of you in 2 years. All you have is your little echo chambers. All you have is your little internet networks that boost your numbers. Nobody trusts you. Everybody looks at you as liars and traitors now. And every single lie you tell eventually gets exposed. Every single one. You try to convince us that beef is cheap. You can afford a burrito. 2 weeks later, Trump has to come out and import 300 tons of beef and cut the prices by 25% because it's so unaffordable. You guys are liars. Who remembers what happened the last time Trump imported beef? Nearly 30,000 pounds of beef recalled at highest USDA risk level due to import violation. That's when he brought it in from Argentina. That was the last time Trump did this. That didn't go well. Now, I've been looking at some of the responses from farmers here. The Iran war and tariffs are costing the farmers. Will Republicans pay in November? That's NPR. And it just kind of talks about how upset farmers are, feeling betrayed. Now, I want to go back a year to kind of put it into a different perspective. This is from September 2025, the Ohio Journal. Ohio family farmers describe life under Trump's tariffs. We're in a hell of a mess here. So you may recall this became a big issue a year ago. The Trump tariffs just failed. I'm sorry. There's no other way to put it. I wasn't even necessarily against them. I liked the idea. I saw the vision. I saw the purpose. It failed. It's okay. You try things. They failed. The Trump tariffs failed. And the American people paid for it. That's just the fact. I was never a tariff hater. I saw what Trump was trying to do, but he failed. It's okay to be honest about that. The tariffs failed miserably. But you may remember a year ago, this was a big issue for the farmers. So what did Trump do at the end of the year? Trump says $12 billion bailout plan for farmers will come after tariff revenue. Well, guess what? The tariff revenue never came, and we ended up paying the tariffs twice. So Trump already screwed the farmers last year. He said, don't worry, we'll bail you out once the tariff comes in and we can give you the dividends. Tariffs never came in. We paid for them twice, and now Trump has screwed the farmers again. And they're not happy. A slap in the face. Small farmers say Trump is turning his back on them. So as I said, I don't want to read all the different responses. You know, there's some cattle ranchers and some farms that do some social media activity, you know, mostly those types of people, those lifestyles. You don't end up on social media, obviously, but there are some out there. And, you know, I know some farmers, I know some ranchers, but I was combing through a lot of the responses on social media, and I found that this is the one that represents, if I could put it all into a box and find the average, I think that this is the closest I could get. This is from Good Ranchers. We understand why beef prices are a problem right now. Ground beef is averaging $6.89 a pound, up 57% since 2021, and that's real pressure on American families. But flooding the market with 300,000 metric tons of imported ground beef with no tariff for 90 days is not a solution for American ranchers. It's a short-term price fix that puts more downward pressure on the cattle producers who are already struggling to stay viable. Trump has not said which countries this beef is coming from or who committed the 25% price reduction he's promising. So did he make it up? I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me. American cattle ranchers have been dealing with years of drought, high feed costs, and a shrinking herd. The answer to that is not more cheap imported beef with lower standards competing against them on shelves with no country of origin label required to tell you the difference. Yikes. We will continue to source 100% American. This is not changing. So I'd say that of all the things I read, that compresses it into one short essay, let's say, because I could read some very vitriolic messages from farmers to Trump, or I could read, there were some that were like, President, we understand what you're trying to do here. We're going to continue to do our part, but this is not going to help. More things that were like that. This is kind of the condensed of all of it. So it's pretty. Now, So, okay, they're trying to do a short-term price fix. That's all it is. Trump wants to try to Trump wants to lower prices before the midterms. Okay. Maybe you like it. Maybe you don't. Would you like to know if you're buying imported beef or not? Now, the last time that they did this, most of that beef from Argentina ended up in Texas or Florida. I would like to know. I would much prefer to buy beef from Texas. I don't want to buy imported beef, especially after what happened the last time we did this and it got recalled. Now, you go to a farmer's market, you probably don't have to deal with that. You go to a grocery store, maybe you do. But wouldn't you like to know? So are they really going to do that? Are they really going to? That's like trying to slip GMO food past you. That's like saying, hey, we're going to, because food is so expensive, we're going to take all the non-GMO labels off of food for 25 days so that we can, it's like, what? That doesn't even make sense. I don't want to eat GMO food. I don't want to eat imported beef. I should be allowed to know that. Is this what winning looks like? Tell me why we should be so rich in beef. We should be doing everything. Imagine, oh boy, here we go. I'll say it. Let's just put it out there. Can you imagine if we committed the same energy and resources to American farmers that we did for Israel? Oh, whoa. I know. But you know what? Feeding America might just be more important than doing whatever it is Israel wants all the time. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Just a theory I have, just a thought, just a philosophy. Maybe if we took the energy and resources that we committed to Israel and instead committed to our farmers and our agriculture, that might be nice. That might be nice. I mean, we could really focus on regenerative farming. We could make sure our farmers have all the resources that they need, all the tech that they need. We could be advancing tech. We could be doing all kinds of things. Instead, Trump just screws them and gives the pesticide glyphosate people immunity, just totally screws Maha, and then goes right back to whatever Marion Adelson and Netanyahu want while the farmers are struggling. Just a thought. Just a thought. But you know what? I've got bad news for the American farmers. Because you guys don't blackmail our politicians and because you guys don't purchase our politicians, unfortunately, our politicians are going to keep putting Israel first. Sorry. I can only hope someday we can change that. I can only hope someday we don't have to live like this. But under President Trump, we will continue to. Now, J.D. Vance, he says a lot of the right things. Does he mean it? I don't know. The freak out you get from the foreign loyalists, the freak out that you get from the neocons makes me think that J.D. Vance means it. I do think J.D. Vance is Trump's greatest protection mechanism. They don't want President Vance. They've made that very clear. So J.D. Vance talking about H-1B visas on the campaign trail.
Feet of those who would sell out their country for a cheap bottom line.
Whoa.
Our politicians and, frankly, the cronies in the private sector, people who didn't want to build in America like Cleveland Cliffs, but people who were happy to build overseas, they got rich, and communities like this one got poor. Politicians, think about this, who came to Washington with a few $1,000s in their bank account, left after decades of public service with millions in stock portfolios. And what did all of you get? What did we get? If you were lucky, your neighbor's job got shipped to a foreign country while your tax dollars got shipped to fraudsters. And if you were unlucky, as I know many people in this room were, you were left raising a grandchild while you were mourning the child killed by the very poison brought across that wide open border. But just as it was a policy choice to let that happen, my friends, it was a policy choice to reverse that decline. And in November of 2024, you made a choice to reverse 40 years of American decline and make Donald Trump the president of the United States.
All right, well, put aside the little Trump, the Trump slop at the end there. And I understand why people are never Vance. I understand the concerns. And my concern for Vance would be anybody tied to the Trump administration might be unelectable. But let's remove all of that. If you remove all of that background and all of that noise, and you just focus on what Vance says here, that is very presidential. I mean, this is very presidential. It's unfortunate that he says it and it kind of doesn't land anywhere, but what he's saying is very presidential. This is a winning message. I don't know if a Republican can win in 2028. I would advise him to sit out. If Vance wants to be president, he needs to sit out till 2032. And if I was advising Vance, I don't know. I would say either take a media route, not an aggressive media route. Find some sort of like soft media approach. Maybe you just do stuff from your home. Maybe a little home studio once a week you do something from. I would stay away. I would stay away from politics. I do like health. I do family. I'd kind of rebrand. It's like you already got the right brand of policy. You kind of maybe rebrand a personality there, and then I'd come back in 32. So this is my $1 million worth of political advice for free for J.D. Vance. But I understand the never answers. I understand the problems. But you isolate that message, it's very presidential. Now, here's the problem that Vance has right now, and this will carry to 2028, and which is why I would tell him not to run. What Vance has right now is he has the Kamala Harris problem, where he's up there as vice president, essentially campaigning on things that are not happening, right? Here's J.D. Vance campaigning out here about, hey, we're against the foreign workers, we're against the H-1Bs, but yet the administration continues to bring in the foreign workers and continues to hand out the H-1B visas. So this is the same issue that Kamala Harris had. Now, obviously, she was running for president. Vance is just on a campaign trail for midterms, so there is a difference. But should he try this on a campaign trail, he's going to face the same issue that Harris had, which is you're essentially campaigning against the administration that you're currently in. And that's just bad politics. So I like the message. I do. I think that's a winning message. I think that wins over many Americans. I don't know if 2028 is winnable. And if he tries to carry this message in 2028, it's going to look foolish because he's campaigning against the very administration he's serving in. Now, here's an example. This is in, I believe this was San Diego. Let me pull this up for you. There is an event happening today in Silicon Valley. Incorporate your own H-1B cap, exempt employer during two-day summit 2026. The pitch, learn how to create your own Delaware nonprofit, apply for 501c3 status, become your own U.S. employer, pursue cap exempt H-1B employment without the annual lottery. A related session literally advertises incorporate your own U.S. employer by Monday. To be clear, forming a nonprofit does not automatically make some H-1B cap exempt. USCIS still has to determine whether the organization genuinely qualifies under federal law. But the fact that people are openly selling seminars on how to build your own cap exempt H-1B employer should get Congress and DHS's attention. If you can manufacture your own cap exempt employer to get around the H-1B lottery, is it really a cap? And of course, the answer is no. So the cap is fake. And they figured out the workaround. Now, I told you this, I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. What these staffers are doing, you've got people that just do staffing. And essentially that's what this is. You're providing a service. So you've got people that just do staffing, and that's the company. It's big in tech specifically right now, and this is why all the Indians are coming here. And what they do is they fill all of these different tech sector jobs. I'm using tech sector. This happens in, packaging, manufacturing, happens all over. But tech is the big one right now. And so they create these companies that basically the reason they get hired by other companies is because they can bring the cost of labor down. So you hire one of these companies. This is what they're training you to do. You start a company. You find a loophole to get around the H-1B visa cap. Now you find a tech company, a packaging company, a manufacturing company, and you call them and you say, hi, I'm exempt from the H-1B cap. I can replace your workers with cheaper H-1B workers. Plus, we all know about the government, kickbacks and everything that works around this. Would you like to hire my company to staff your company, and we can bring your cost of labor down? And they say, well, of course. So some of them might start laying off. Others, somebody quits, somebody retires. They just use these companies. They bring in the H-1B Indians. This is happening everywhere. It's not just Silicon Valley. It's happening in Texas, another big tech hub right now. So how do you campaign for president of the United States against H-1B visas when you're part of the administration that is continuing to facilitate H-1B visas? Well, that's the Kamala Harris conundrum, isn't it? And Vance will face the same issues if he runs in 2028. And it's another one of those things where it's like, if you follow the news, you're damned. If you actually follow the news, you're damned. And you'll have MAGA people, there's no H-1Bs. Trump got rid of the H-1Bs. It's just like, oh, geez, okay. It's like, all right. Trump never said Marion Adelson loves Israel more than America. Okay, you're right. Yep. There's just no point. There's no point. So that's going to be the Kamala Harris conundrum for Vance if he runs in 2028. I would advise. I still like Vance. I do. I think we have to take the good with the bad in D.C., guys, and I think Vance is closer to being the good than the bad. I don't even think it's close. The fact that the neocons and the foreign lobbyists all hate Vance and want to keep him out is certainly good. Now, there's a hint of concern and irony to that, considering that's exactly what they did with Trump, and we saw how that went, but maybe that's a different story. But I'm indifferent to it right now, other than to just say, if there's going to be a Republican in 2028 that thinks they can win, they're probably going to have to be, I don't know if I would say anti-Trump, but not affiliated with Trump. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, Rubio, no way. No way. Way too many people on the right that will never vote for Marco Rubio. Never. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let me hit a couple other odds and ends here before we go to the second hour. Well, we've been wondering who the next to go would be, and it's one of the best, unfortunately. Ed Martin leaving DOJ role to fight legal battles in midterm and 2028 elections, Trump announces. Well, let me just say this. I ain't buying that for 1 second. So Trump makes the statement. He makes a statement about Ed Martin leaving today, and he says, he's leaving the DOJ because he's going to be fighting legal battles for the upcoming elections. And I'm sitting here saying, how does that make any sense? The DOJ doesn't want to have people watching elections. The DOJ doesn't want lawyers maintaining election integrity. The DOJ is not interested in having lawyers make sure elections are above the law or within the law, I guess I should say. So I'm not buying it for 1 second. This whole, Martin serves the country better outside of the DOJ monitoring elections, where he doesn't have institutional power, where he doesn't have a foot in the door. So it makes no sense on its face. I think it's total BS. Now, Ed Martin is one of the best. Ed Martin was one of the few good guys, true believers and American patriots that were left in D.C. in this administration. Truly, maybe the best. This is a major blow. Now, I don't know why Ed is out. I don't even think it's fair for me to offer an opinion on that right now, other than to just say I don't believe for 1 second what Trump is saying, because it just doesn't make sense. But we were wondering who the next to go would be, and now we have our answer, and it's just, folks, it's just bad. I mean, directionally, this looks bad. Losing another patriot I mean, look, we started the show talking about Bongino, but take a different angle to that. You know, Bongino leaving is still a major red flag, guys. Bongino leaving the FBI is still a major canary in the coal mine. Think about it. Think about it. Now, unless there's something personal going on with Dan Bongino, which maybe there is, he's not expressed anything like that. I mean, he talks about maybe having an issue with his wife. I don't know. But as far as we can tell, there's no personal reason why Dan. It's not like there's a health issue or a family emergency issue. Dan just left. He just left. Dan Bongino, the guy that wrote books and documentaries about deep state criminals, becomes number 2 at the FBI and just leaves. He's just gone. No explanation. So we can talk trash on Bongino and do the little fun, internet drama. You go back to that, guys, that's still extremely significant. I'd like to believe that Dan Bongino wanted to do deep state arrests. I'd like to believe that Dan Bongino meant all of the things that he said on his show for 10 years. I'd like to believe that Dan Bongino is one of us. And if I believe that, what happened? What happened? He never really offered an explanation. He's not explaining to his audience why there's no deep state arrest. He's not even bothering to offer any sort of explanation about how he talked about criminals in the deep state for 10 years and then became number 2 at the FBI and didn't do anything about it. I'm not even trying to be mean. This is not me trying to be mean. These are fair questions for us to ask. Totally fair. And there are fair concerns that we have that Bongino didn't get these results and he left, and now we just continue to see the best of the administration leave. Gabbard, Kent, Martin. These are the best of the administration. So yeah, that's another major red flag, guys. I would say that's another major red flag. All right. We are going to take our first break of today's transmission. We've got a we've got the heavy geopolitical stack coming up in the second hour. We're also going to be doing a cybersecurity update with some AI cybersecurity concerns coming up. Big second hour. So we got the big geopolitical stack. We got big AI cybersecurity hacks and everything else in that world coming up in the second hour. But the geopolitical stuff is going to be very heavy at the end of the hour, guys. That's going to be maybe the heaviest stuff for today's transmission even.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the WIN Network.
Navigating between the sane and insane. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, second hour of today's transmission. We got to get our cybersecurity update from our friends at Patriot Protect. Skip Holst joining the show now. Folks, remember, support our great sponsors like Patriot Protect. And in fact, I got a funny little story for Skip on that front. But we got a bunch of news. We got to give our audience a cybersecurity update today with our cybersecurity expert, Skip Holst from Patriot Protect. Skip, I got a stack of news here. We were talking about this for months, and now it's almost in the news every day. AI-driven cyber attacks surge as U.S. companies face rising threats. Rogue open AI agent that hacked startup tried to attack other firms. ChatGPT developers says activity by autonomous tool was not at severity of scale of what occurred at Hugging Face, so that means there was even worse attacks. OpenAI rogue models roamed the internet for 4 days and staged a second attack. All right, I can go on and on. You get the point. Skip, what is the deal with AI? Is this a real threat? Are AI agents hacking American companies, and what are they doing?
Great call. Firstly, great to be on here as always. So thank you for having me. And yes, I mean, think about it like this. Imagine AI just finding oil or something like that. It's a resource that can be used for many, many things. Oil and petroleum derivatives are used for harm, and they're used for help. It could be used to make bombs. It could be used to make to transport goods and services across land. AI, however, has the displeasure of entering our economy in a time where it's not like we have really a diversified economy like we used to as much. I mean, look at the S&P 500, it's like 25% of it is like 7 companies. So, and the fact that a large...
You're not benefiting famously from the stock market?
It's hard to say.
You're not in the 100K club?
My personal finances have taken an interesting turn, but the reality is that the AI bet is a huge portion of our economy, and so there really isn't a chance for this to fail. So when something like this happens, when AI gets weaponized for things that we don't like, like surveillance, which I'm sure we'll talk about, or the fact that it's coming out of its container to do this. And of course, I watched the Hugging Face, issue with under a microscope, because it's like, wow, it just this mutant got out of its container to go hack something on its own volition. That's a bad thing. That's something that we need to watch very closely, because we are privacy absolutists, and we want to make sure that all of our customers who are way ahead of the curve and making sure that they take off information that's publicly available for themselves about AI, think about that sort of stuff, because AI, as we know, is being weaponized and used for things like voice cloning and all that stuff. Very scary stuff, to say the least.
So you brought up privacy. Do you have an opinion on flock cameras? Do you have an opinion on the I think they're Axum cameras, or the other group too that's tied to the Trump administration? What do you think about that?
Oh boy, do I, Owen. Oh boy, do I think about flock cameras. Yeah. So I've been talking about, going on your show and others for probably 6 months, talking about flock cameras. And I think people were just kind of like, aha, Skip. Okay. Yeah, sure, man. I don't know how important this is. And now people are really wising up to it and talking about it. If you just look at, I think in 2024, they maybe had, sorry, just to explain what Flock is, it is a private AI-driven surveillance company that in 2024 had maybe 1,300 or whatever cameras up around the United States. Today has about 130,000 cameras Where are these cameras? Well, there's initially said that they're just license plate readers. They're tracking people across state lines or whatever. Not people that are under investigation, mind you. Every single person that crosses in front of the camera. These are set up alongside roads, important intersections. They are not only tracking the make and model of the car, they are also tracking your license plate, but they are also tracking things like, do you have a sports, bumper sticker on your car? What does it say? What side of the car is it on? Is it on the passenger side? Top left bumper, rear quarter panel, whatever. Or do you have a scratch on the car? Anything that can identify uniquely your car is given its own serial number and basically some unique identifier within their system. And so law enforcement can basically buy this data, not have to do their own, gumshoeing or whatever, buy this data, search it. And that's the business model, basically. And what we're seeing is in town halls across the country, people from all over the spectrum of citizens, all over the political spectrum, raising their voices and saying, we're not under investigation. We don't want to be surveilled. We don't want this private company from knowing, our grocery store runs and our children being picked up from school and where they are and who they are and all that stuff. There are flock cameras that are pointed directly into public and private pools. It's disgusting.
Here's the one that's significant to me, and I don't know if you noticed this too. The one that's significant to me is they have them. Many of them are posted outside of gun ranges, and they're pointed right at the entrance exit of gun ranges. They are also, many of them are at these newly built marijuana dispensaries, which I guess that's relatively new. Within the last 5 to 10 years, it became legal. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, imagine a potential situation where, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know all the different laws. I mean, maybe if it concerned me, I would, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure they say you can't, if you have like a marijuana license, you can't own a firearm. And so imagine they have you going and shooting a gun at a gun range and then going to a marijuana dispensary, and then they hit you with some violation for lying on a federal document about not using marijuana. Now, obviously, you could fight that in court, but it's like, that's the kind of stuff that I look at, and I'm like, is there a trap here? Is this a setup, as you said, for innocent Americans getting treated guilty?
Of course. I mean, look, all of the things that we've been publicly criticizing China about having, this everyone, they're all surveilled and you can't be free in China. This has now been constructed via a private company across the United States. And I think look, there's a great nonprofit that has been put up called DFlock. It's at dflock.org, and it shows it's an open source project that shows where all these readers are across the United States. It's user driven. I've put stuff up on there just to show where I've seen flock cameras around in my area. And it's a massive problem. I mean, this was a breaking story that came up in July, which it showed that I'm just reading this from Yahoo News. Flock safety employees watched kids' gymnastics room to pitch their surveillance tech. This is the freaks and sickos that are employees there are doing disgusting stuff by watching children in a gymnastics class to say, hey, look at what we can do. Isn't that the big red flag freakish
too? The reason why this is such a red flag, because it's like, okay, there's security cameras, right? I mean, there's security cameras at my gym. I'm okay with that. It's the difference is if we're going to use this stuff, use it when we're investigating a crime. They're just using it 24/7. There's no crime being investigated. It's just 24/7 in use. So it's just like, this isn't about our Bill of Rights. This is a violation of our right to privacy in many ways, I say, and it's treating Americans as guilty before innocent.
So exactly in the case that you're talking about, like at your gym, and if somebody says like, hey, I think somebody took my AirPods from the bench or something like that, what would that person do? They would go to the front desk. The front desk would finally be like, okay, fine. They'd have to try to call the head of facilities. Head of facilities would go, try to access the camera system or something and say, when did you think it was And then, that's how it would happen. It's
Yeah.
really dumb. It's really slow. And I don't think, yes, I agree, there's too much surveillance, but I agree that that's not like some gross violation of our Bill of Rights. However, if there is a private company that is building a profile on you, queryable at any time by anybody, whether or not you're under investigation, that is a gross violation of our civil rights. I completely agree, and I think that's why we're seeing, like, across the the entire political spectrum, people being like, this is gross, disgusting, and we do not want to be under surveillance or being de facto investigated without us even being, without a police officer even breathing our names.
All right, I want to know your thoughts on this one. Customers sue Madison Square Garden over hacking of 26 million records. 3 class action lawsuits accuse a hacking group of publishing data that included personal and corporate information stolen from the arena. My guess is, this is where you come in and you say, hey, or somebody asks you, hey, how do I get this information off the internet? Because obviously what happens here is they hack this information and then they sell it, and now it's out there on the internet.
Yeah. So again, we've been talking about this cyber criminal syndicate, Shiny Hunters, we've talked about it on this program. I've been talking about these guys for over a year, and everyone was like, okay, man, skips on his thing again. But it's true. I mean, so in this case, one of the ways that they've hacked this, and again, Shiny Hunters has been behind many of the massive hacks over the last couple of years that have affected people listening to this program. Without whether or not they knew it. And basically what they do is they find a vulnerability, massively more capable now with AI, but they find a vulnerability in a company, find the data, either steal it and encrypt it and extort the company to try to get it back. And I think they even say here, they say, like, yeah, here it is. It's very simple. When you pay us, your data is deleted and you move on with your life. When you don't pay us, you get posted here, among other things. And so their business model is to extort the people, the company that they've hacked. Or if the company says, no, we are not going to protect our customers by paying the ransom, then the business model becomes fine. We put the data up for sale on the dark web, and we are going to exploit the people that have, that have gone on this. Now, in this case, this is exactly the same thing that as the case with Flock. This was the comings and goings of people that were going to see shows and sporting events and stuff like that at Madison Square Garden. And by the way, Madison Square Garden Group also owns the the Sphere in Las Vegas and stuff like that. So a lot of the other stuff was pulled into that, and that's really identifiable stuff. The fact that you as a concert goer are surveilled by just going to see, in the case of one of the litigants here, they went to see Dua Lipa at Madison Square Garden. The fact that you're surveilled and then that information is not securely held and then put up for sale on the dark web. This is exactly one of the reasons why we should not have surveillance, AI surveillance, as we see with Flock. And like in the case of this, I don't know why they're even doing it. What's the point? It's not like, we're stealing popcorn. I don't even know what the point of it is.
What I think they do, and we've covered, I think, some of the lowbrow stuff. What I think they do at the higher brow stuff, because there's a difference. I remember when they first started introducing this technology where if you're at a ball game, they can basically take a 360, it's like 8K photo, and you can zoom in and you can see yourself sitting in, section 350, row 3, seat 6. And you can zoom into this massive photo and you can see your face. And it's like, well, okay, that's a little weird, but it's just a photo at the end of the day. There's nothing real sensitive about that data. The difference is when you go and you purchase, because everything's digital now. So if I go and purchase something to go to Madison Square Garden, well, they've got an email and they likely have a password to something. So what I think some of these hackers do is they pull all this data, and if they find something in there that's interesting to them, like let's say they find there's a famous person, they find, oh, here's a famous person that was in this data that we have here. Hey, look, here's an email that has a password associated with it. Why don't we try this password on their social media? Why don't we try this password in other emails? And then all it takes is one, Skip. All it takes is one. And all of a sudden they got access to a social media account or an email that you don't want them to have, or a bank login. I think that I kind of think that there's a level of that that kind of happens at the higher levels. Like, yeah, the lowbrow stuff. I mean, is that a little too conspiratorial for you, or am I on the right pack here?
Not only are you on the right track, but this is explicitly listed in the story here, is that yes, in the call it the marketing that Shiny Hunters is doing to sell this information, they say nearly 44,000 rows referred to as quote talent, such as celebrities. And this is exactly, by the way, if you'll recall, the massive celebrity nude photo leak that happened, I don't even know how long ago, probably over 10 years ago.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if you say how long ago it is, we'll start to feel old.
Yeah, exactly.
The people that got exposed in that were like young. Now they're like graybeards.
It's true. Yeah, no, exactly. So, but the business model for that was it was a leak from iPhoto or whatever, like the Apple thing, and they took probably millions of photos of millions of people's photos, and then tried to whittle it down to figure out who the celebrities were based off of certain clues and parts of the ways that they would filter it. So yes, I 100% agree with you. And of course, like the business model for any, sporting arena or whatever is not to really make as much money on the ticket sales, even though now it's like a whole apparatus of dynamic pricing with StubHub and SeatGeek and Ticketmaster and stuff. But the whole point that how Madison Square Garden makes money is selling you things like incidentals like beer and popcorn and food and all that stuff. So the point of these surveillance things is to track your individual movements, and how often do you get up to go to the bathroom, where do you sit, do you sit or stand during certain things, where do you go, to which vendors do you go to, how long do you stay there, how long do you stay in line if there's a line. This is all data that they can use to make sure that you spend more money while you're there. Mm-hmm. But in their want to increase your, what is it called, like your spend per visit or whatever, they are holding that information, and your civil liberties are being stripped away from you and put up for sale on the dark web, which is exactly the stuff that it doesn't take much to get me animated when I come out of your program, but this is exactly the kind of problems that arise by these data sets even existing in their first place.
All right, so I said I had a story for you. I'm gonna tell you a story now. So I was out last weekend with some friends, and you can imagine the conversation I have with my friends, probably a lot like you and I have here on air. Mm-hmm. And it's just me and some buddies sitting at a table, and a couple girls sitting at a table next to us. I guess they overhear what we're talking about, and somehow we get on. I think we were talking about flock cameras and spying on us or whatever. Somehow we get into this conversation about, privacy and information online. And I tell this girl, I'm like, look, you don't understand. Everything about you is online right now. I can literally find out everything about you right now. I'll find your phone number. I'll find your address. I'll find your email. I'll find it all right now. And she's like, I was like, no way. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, what's your name? Boom. It takes me 2 minutes. I've got her address. I've got her name. I've got her employer. I've got her email. I've got her phone number. I don't even have to ask for it. And needless to say, she's sitting there like freaking out because she didn't realize that that's the nature of the internet these days. Do people really not realize how easy it is? Unfortunately, I didn't. I had to go through it the hard way. I had to go through it the hard way and have people, stalking me and getting my information and selling it. That's why I use Patriot Protect. Do people really not realize how easy it is, Skip?
I was just going to say, I can tell she was not a Patriot Protect customer because all that information would have been taken down.
It took me 30 seconds. I mean, it was like, you know how easy it is.
It's so true. I mean, that's the thing, is that like people become Patriot Protect customers because they did not know that there was an option to take this information off of it, right? I mean, it's so viscerally disgusting and creepy knowing that these 200 plus data brokers make money off of you.
People are saying in the chat right now, they're saying, "Oh, and you sound creepy." I'm like, I know it's creepy. I'm just telling you, that's the reality.
It's true. It's true. Oh, I didn't even have the chat up. Now I've got it up. But look, this is of course it's creepy, and like the whole idea that there is a business model from these 200 plus companies to sell this information on you, which by the way, their customers are stalkers ex-boyfriends, scammers, cyber criminals from across the world that are buying information on the American market because they know that they can drain people's bank accounts. They can predate on people that they can see if somebody is recently bereaved, if they've become a widow or a widower recently, if their loved one has died, and therefore they are more vulnerable. All that information is available on these data brokers. People that have maybe just retired and therefore have gotten their pension, and therefore they know that there's, money to be had on the table. All this information is available.
Yeah.
And so it's incredible how much data you throw off as a person living your day-to-day life. All of this, is just sitting out there waiting to be exploited. And that is not the case for those people that are Patriot Protect customers, because all we think about all day, every day, and all this, this passion and excitement that gets me up in the morning, which is made all the more important by the new tool of AI that is being used to, do voice phishing scams, clone your voice and call your grandmother, say at 2 a.m. saying, "I need help. I'm stuck on the side of the road. I need $500 wired to me," or whatever. Yeah. All of these things are disgusting, and I can't abide by it. And so, all we do every day is make sure that our customers are a grossly higher cost target for scammers and cyber criminals and all that stuff, such that they are just simply never touched. And that's what we do all day.
Well, I've got to thank Patriot Protect, because all of my exes and all of my stalkers have a lot harder time tracking me down these days. They're out there. Let me tell you, the stalkers and the exes are out there. If it wasn't for Patriot Protect, they might literally be right out there. But they're not. All right, Skip from Patriot Protect with our cybersecurity update for today's show, brought to you by Patriot Protect. Skip, before we let you go, sometimes you give a little offer to the audience before. I don't mean to twist your arm here, but I'm curious. Do you have anything for the audience today?
I was getting so excited, I almost forgot about it. Yes, if you go to Patriot Protect, patriot-protect.com, and you use promo code Owen at checkout, you will save 30% off on our annual plans. It comes down to something like, $5.50 a month or something like that. I mean, listen, if we could do this for free and offer this to Americans, we would. But by virtue of the fact that we can't, it's the least that we could do is offer this 30% discount on our annual plan. I really hope everybody takes advantage of it, because again, these scams and these AI tools are being used to find you. And the point of it is to make sure that you are untraceable. And you are unsearchable. So I highly recommend everybody that is not yet a Patriot Protect customer, please go to patriot-protect.com/Owen and make sure you become unsearchable.
Thank you, Skip. That is our Patriot Protect cyber update of the day with Skip Holtz. Skip, I know you're about to go have a barbecue. Have a great weekend, brother.
It's time to crack a beer. Much appreciated, buddy.
There you go. Enjoy. All right, Skip Holtz, thank you. All right, guys, we're going to take a really short break here. We're just going to take a short break. I just want to kind of refocus here before we get into the really heavy geopolitics that are happening right now. Really heavy stuff, I think. And there's really not many people that understand the severity of the recent escalation. So we're going to try our best to bring that to you coming up after this short break.
Political light years ahead of the rest. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Well, we have been watching Israel escalate with Turkey for a few months now. The signal that Israel's next war is going to be against Turkey has been going out for a couple months now. But for some reason, Israel has decided to escalate this and I believe move the timetable forward with their latest attack on a Turkish base in Syria. And of course, they're also claiming that they had intel that Turkey was planning some military escalation of their own. Now, of course, how anybody could still trust Israeli intelligence, which has been proven to be nothing but propaganda most of the time, especially when it comes to dragging others into their war. So I don't know why anybody would trust that. I also think it's suspicious, to say the least. Maybe for the sake of this segment, I wouldn't reach a conclusion. And I would just say it's concerning, maybe, or suspicious is the better word, that somehow after Al-Qaeda takes over Syria, all of a sudden they're working in Israel's interests. Isn't it amazing? ISIS and Al-Qaeda have attacked every single one of Israel's neighbors, but they've never attacked Israel, not even once. That's weird. That's weird. And then somehow when Al-Qaeda takes over Syria, now all of a sudden they're working on Israel's behalf? Not to reach any conclusions here, but it would look like maybe Israel's running ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Okay, so here we go. Now we see Israel is escalating with Turkey a lot sooner than expected. We expected they would at least wait till after the Iran war was finished. They're moving on with Turkey right now. The next war nobody wants. Can Israel and Turkey avoid a conflict? There's no Israel and Turkey avoiding a conflict, folks. It's Israel wants war with everyone. Israel wants war with the world. And right now they have America. They basically own the United States as far as foreign policy and the military is concerned. So that's like their big bet, is they can start a world war, and as long as America's on their side, they're going to come out looking good on the other side. Now, I don't know if that, whether you agree with that or not, that seems to be Israel's mindset here. Or maybe they just blackmail the world or threaten the world with nukes. I don't know. So it's not, can Israel and Turkey avoid a conflict? It's no, Israel's deciding it's starting a war. That's how this works. Israel's decided they're starting a war with Turkey. Maybe they want some of the land. Maybe they just want to do a regime change. That's what this is. There's no avoiding this. Israel's already made up its mind, folks. It's at war with the entire world, in case you haven't noticed. But Turkey could be the one where it comes to an end. Turkey's rise is a warning. Israel must rebuild its military strength now. Now, this is, it's basically treating this as if Turkey is the one threatening Israel, which is obviously outrageous. Israel is the one threatening, it seems, the entire planet every single day. Israel is the one acting aggressively. Israel literally just bombed a Turkish base, and they're declaring themselves victims. That's how insane this has become. How the world is so brainwashed and propagandized, it's like they're getting hit with a psychological weapon. Israel just bombed Turkey, and Israel is saying, how dare Turkey? What? That's what happens. Israel bombs Turkey and says, why would you do this, Turkey? What? So they're saying, oh, Israel's the victim. We got to get ready for this war with Turkey. They're starting the war. Oh, and I'm sure it's just a coincidence that now all of a sudden Trump wants to leave NATO. Now, he's been talking about it for years, but now that it's time to go to war with Turkey, now Trump is actually going to do it. Israeli defense minister puts NATO power on notice as Middle East tensions surge. So now Israel is telling Trump to get out of NATO so they can start a war with Turkey. Yeah. I mean, come on. Guys, this is ridiculous. Stop calling it a conspiracy theory. Stop with the name calling. Stop with all the woke garbage. Just be honest with yourselves. I mean, this is so obvious, guys. It's so obvious. Trump is now going to be told to leave NATO so Israel can go to war with Turkey. I mean, what more evidence do you need to see that the entire foreign policy is controlled by Israel, at the least? Well, this is where it starts to get real bad. Pakistan urges world to hold Israel accountable after strikes on Syrian airbase. So Pakistan is coming out hard against Israel. Pakistan, a nuclear power. Now, let's remember, Pakistan has weighed in on this situation before in the Middle East. When we started a war with Iran on Israel's behalf, Pakistan strongly condemns unjustified and illegitimate aggression by Israel against the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now, this is why there's so much jockeying for India right now. It's hard to really, especially when you're in the West and when you're in America, it's hard to really fathom to the degree you need to the tension between India and Pakistan, and you might even say the hatred. And it's like they know, the interests in the Middle East know that wherever one side of this lands, like if Pakistan decides they're going to be anti-Israel, then India, just out of sheer hatred for Pakistan, is going to come out as pro-Israel. And so you're starting to see this develop now. We will tear you to pieces. Indian general warns Erdogan about pact with Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. This is, guys, Israel is going to cause a world war, folks. They're going to cause this world war. And it's disgusting that Trump is letting them do it. It's just disgusting. Retired Major General Gadandeep Bakshi says India needs Iran as a counterweight to Pakistan and will not sacrifice its interests to accommodate Israel. Everybody sees what's happening, guys. Israel is at war with the world. They're going for full world domination, guys. Now, that's not to say that there aren't other factors. That's not to say that there's not other influence. There's not other international power syndicates. But clearly, Israel is the most aggressive on the planet right now. Israel is the most aggressive and reaching for world domination unlike any other force on planet Earth right now. And first, they're trying to conquer the Middle East. They're using America to do it. They've already conquered America for all intents and purposes, at least occupied it. And so now they're trying to use that as leverage for whatever it is they have planned for the Middle East. But Turkey's going to be the first one where I don't think it's going to be so easy. I mean, if you think Iran has been a debacle, Turkey's going to be even worse by a long shot. Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu calls Turkey's Erdogan an anti-Semitic dictator. Now, this is very important right here. The sharp words from the Israeli leader come as Turkey sought an international arrest warrant for Netanyahu, accusing him of genocide, linked to Israel's interception of an aid flotilla for Gaza. So, okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. I guess the weapons of mass destruction, we need to stop them from having nukes propaganda has failed. Or perhaps they realize that that's not going to work with Turkey, so they need a different angle. So now he's an anti-Semite, so we have to take him out. Guys, you have to be able to see ahead. You have to be able, like a chess match, to see 3-4 moves ahead and to see all the potential moves on the board. If you can't understand what this represents, I mean, we can only try. This is a new justification, guys. Now they're just going to be able to use this and say, hey, he's an anti-Semite, and then they're just going to do regime change wars. Israel is literally about to start a world war because they claim somebody is an anti-Semite. That is the move here. Israel bombed Turkey and claimed they were the victims. And now they're saying Erdogan is an anti-Semite, so we need to start war with him. Do you guys understand what's happening here? Do I really have to show where this goes? Do we really have to show the potential here? You understand what's being done. The excuse to do anything they want anywhere is just accuse you of being an anti-Semite. And it's not like the situation where we see these instances in America where, you know, a black guy will attack a white guy and say, oh, he called me the N-word. Obviously, that's bad, but that's a local thing. It's a couple guys, you know. This is international interests. This is world war potential. Israel is pointing the finger saying anti-Semite, and now they want to start a war over it, which I think if there's a situation that could escalate this to a potential, you know, world war standard, whatever it is now, if we haven't already crossed that threshold, Israel going to war with Turkey would be it. And you would really start to see these different factions that have kind of had loose sides on the Iran ordeal. They will become a lot more hardened, a lot more solidified if Israel goes into this war with Turkey. This is so disgusting. I cannot believe Americans are sitting idly by and watching this. And who is it? Who is it? Oh, it's the doomers. It's the panicans. It's the very people like me that told you this would happen last year. Everything we've predicted has come true. And it's not even really a prediction. We're just telling you this is the news. Like, this is obviously what's happening. I mean, I guess you call it a prediction because you're going against the grain, but no, this is what they've said. This has all been already announced. This has already been the plan. So it's really not even a prediction, but I guess you could call it a prediction. So yeah, we predicted this exact thing would happen, but now I'm thinking they're speeding it up. Originally, they were going to wait till the Iran ordeal was over, and maybe they thought it would be over by now, but obviously that situation is not over. That situation is a complete disaster. Thanks, Trump. Thanks, Netanyahu. You fuckers. Excuse me. Just makes me sick, man. It just makes me sick. We know the monsters that are holding humanity down. We know the monsters that are keeping this planet at war unnecessarily. We know the monsters that will send innocent men and women to die. We know the monsters that don't care if children die. We know the monsters that are willing to sacrifice the entire planet for their own egomaniacal, psychotic desires. We know who they are. Excuse me. So maybe they thought the Iran war would be finished. I think they're pushing the gas with Turkey now. I think this thing is such a disaster behind the scenes, guys. Netanyahu is trailing in the polls. He's got an upcoming re-election bid. He's trailing in the polls, by the way. He might lose. If Netanyahu loses his election, folks, that's bad news for Netanyahu. I don't know what happens to him next, but that's not good news for him. And maybe he's scared about that. Would Benjamin Netanyahu launch World War III to protect his own life? Would Benjamin Netanyahu launch World War III so that he can cancel an election? Would Donald Trump launch us into a greater war so that he can cancel election? Would Netanyahu and Trump do what Zelensky did and just cancel in elections and declare it wartime? Is this too far-fetched, or is this getting a little too real today? But this is the new move. So now, just like they do here, when you engage in free speech to try to shut you up and discredit you and go to war with you, they call you an anti-Semite. Obviously, it's a lie. Now they're doing it to Erdogan because they want to start a world war. Turkey's not going to bow to this. And I don't think the world stays loosely on different sides of this issue like they have with Iran. I think this one solidifies alliances and things start to get nasty. Now, this is Israel Hayom, which is owned by the Adelsons. Yes, Marion Adelson. And they're writing this story about how, just because Israel attacks Turkey, we can find out a way where it doesn't violate the NATO constitution, and then NATO doesn't have to go to war with us. I mean, these are the most scheming, diabolical rats that exist. Turkey's strategic depth is now a part of Israel's military calculus. Just because Turkey is a member state in NATO doesn't mean it is protected in Syria. So they're writing a legal brief through the media, through a Marion Adelson mouthpiece, and they're saying, hey, NATO, we didn't violate Article 5 of the NATO Constitution. We didn't attack a NATO country. It's just Syria. That doesn't count because they know they committed a war crime. Israel committed another war crime. Israel just launched a war against NATO. So now a Marian Adelson mouthpiece is writing a legal brief explaining how it wasn't a violation of Article 5 and NATO doesn't have to go to war with Israel. Of course. Of course. And you know what, guys? I told you this last year, and now other evidence is starting to mount. But you know why we need a Golden Dome, right? Because they're about to start a war. Trump and Netanyahu are about to start a world war, and so now we need a Golden Dome. The risk, Donald Trump has made America less safe. You can throw Biden in there too. They both have, but Trump is the one doing this. Trump has made America so unsafe that we have to build a Golden Dome. Trump has us so connected to the monsters that run the Israeli government that now we need a Golden Dome. And you know, you'll have the MAGA people and the cult members that scoff at this. Why are you guys such clowns now? Why are you guys such jokers now? They're building a Golden Dome. Why do you think they're doing that? It's going to cost probably hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars when it's all said and done. Why do you think we need a Golden Dome? Do you understand Trump and Netanyahu are probably about to start World War III? Do you understand that America is at a higher risk at an actual attack on our country than ever before, thanks to Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump? You guys can laugh and scoff and play all your little games. Americans are already coming back in body bags, you assholes. Sorry, I'm getting really pissed about this. This stuff really bothers me, as you can tell. I don't like people dying that don't need to die. I don't like our country starting wars for foreign and special interests. I think these are the most evil people on earth. And unfortunately, now Donald Trump is one of them because he did this. To me, world leaders that start wars for special interests, world leaders that have no problem sacrificing innocent lives for their own selfish desires, these are the most wicked monsters on the face of the earth. And leading that charge right now is Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. You guys make me sick. You guys make me sick. You make all things good on this planet sick. You make anybody that cares about life and God and love on this planet sick. You represent the most evil monsters that have ever existed on planet Earth. You're disgusting. And all you Trump cheerleaders, this is who you're riding with. You better pray we don't get in a larger war. You better pray there aren't more body bags coming back to this country. You better pray we don't start a war with Turkey. You better pray we get out from the clutches of the bloodlust coming from Israel. You better pray, because I'm going to tell you right now, you guys are going to be embarrassed. You guys are going to be embarrassed when Trump becomes the biggest warmonger in the history of this country. I hope I'm wrong. I've never wanted to be more wrong in my life, but wake up and smell the coffee, man. He's building a Golden Dome. He's got Netanyahu up his butt. They're starting a war with Turkey before the midterms. Wake up. Body bags are coming home from Iran. Wake up, cheerleaders. Wake up, guys. There's a real world still going on. The honeymoon is over. The Trump cheerleading routine is pathetic. Oh, and guess what? Israel wants to oversee the entire Golden Dome project. Wow. The Jewish Institute for National Security Affairs' new plan for the next U.S.-Israel MOU affirms that Israel will be included in the Golden Dome project and have full oversight. Tell me why. Why is Israel having full oversight and involvement in one of our biggest national security projects ever? Shouldn't that be a little concerning? And that wasn't all. That wasn't their only demand. They want $40 billion from the U.S. taxpayers. They want a permanent military presence at CENTCOM and an operational headquarters in Israel. They want to merge our defense industrial base. We've learned about that one. So it goes on and on. I mean, guys, this is like you are being totally conquered by foreign interests. To ignore this is to just be ignorant. To ignore this is to just be in denial. It's never been more obvious. That's why I make the joke. Maybe it's not a joke anymore. This is QAnon. I mean, this is save Israel for last. This is expose Israel last. Israel has never been more exposed. They occupy our government. Their interests run our foreign policy. They blackmail and buy out our politicians. And now Americans are coming back in body bags for Israel's interests. And we're about to start and fight in World War III for Israel. It's never been more obvious. To deny this is to just look like a buffoon. To ignore this as the biggest story in modern history is to just not be a serious journalist, not be a serious reporter. It's never been more obvious. Now, we know that a lot of this is being driven by Israel's desire to control the shipping lanes. And so you have the Bab al-Mandeb shipping lane, which is on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, there's all kinds of different factors here. You've got the oil that comes in and out, which is obviously international interest. And then you have the weapons that come in, which, because the Strait of Hormuz or the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, because those both feed weapons into Israel and those are cut off, well, guess what? That's a problem for Israel. If Israel doesn't have control over those straits, and let's not forget the strait that they're trying to control, southern Italy, the strait that they're trying to control in Morocco, the strait that they're trying to control in Albania. Do you see what's happening here? So if they don't have control, they're not getting weapons. Why do you think Israel's trying to produce its own weapons? Because they have lost control of the strait, and the world is cutting off these bloodlusting, psychotic freaks in Israel because they don't want them to blow up the planet. They're sick of them killing innocent men and women all over the world. So they're using the U.S. military to try to open these straits so that Israel can get more weapons to do more killing. That's this whole thing. It's what it all is. And you're paying for it. Now, when it comes to the Bab al-Mandeb, Douglas McGregor had a pretty, I'd say this is headline news. Maybe you believe it, maybe you don't. Maybe it'll hit the news, maybe it never would. But he makes a pretty big claim about something that just went down in that strait with Judge Napolitano this week.
Well, I can tell you only what I found through open source material. I haven't seen anything classified. But I am reliably told that roughly 70 Israeli so-called commandos or special forces, special operations force types, along with some number of Americans, the total number was 70. How many were Israeli and how many were American mercenaries that were joined in this operation? I don't know what the exact breakdown was, but it was obviously mostly Israeli. And they infiltrated successfully into Yemen, but they were tracked from the moment they infiltrated by overhead satellites, presumably Russian. And the Russians provided this information to the Iranians, who immediately telegraphed it to the Houthis. And whatever you say about the Houthis is that they're tough hombres on the battlefield. They set up an ambush and they killed all of them. And there is footage of the dead. And I haven't had a chance to examine.
So that's a pretty serious claim. Now, he has been right about a lot of the things he said over the years. If you follow Colonel McGregor's interviews or his own broadcasts, you know he's been a lot more accurate than pretty much the mainstream media or anybody that, will do Trump propaganda. McGregor's been way more accurate. And the things that he say directionally end up being true. Maybe not the exact details, but directionally, McGregor has pretty much been spot on. Now, it would make sense considering that, hey, I got news for you guys. Trump's lying about the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so we're all up to date on that. So it would make sense that since the Strait of Hormuz is not going well, that they would try to make a move on the other side to try to get Israel access to the strait, the Mandeb Strait. So it would make sense that they might do a special operation there to try to open up that strait so that Israel can control that shipping lane, since the Strait of Hormuz is not going well. And it looks like maybe that didn't go so well. Now, I don't know if that'll ever make the press. I think what'll end up coming out, maybe pretty soon, they won't tell you who did it. They won't tell you specific details, but they'll probably at some point in the near future have to admit they tried to run a special operation to open up the strait, the Mandeb Strait, and they're going to have to come out and admit it failed. I'm guessing they'll eventually have to come out and admit that they ran an operation and failed, but they will not give us the details. So my guess is Douglas Macgregor, at least directionally, again, will be proven right. Now, will they say Americans died or Israelis died in the operation? I doubt it. But it'll hit the news that, yeah, they ran a special operation and failed. I'd give it a month, maybe less. So here's what's so frustrating. This is just the frustration at the end of it. When you get through it all and you hit the end and you just say, okay, none of this is supposed to be happening, guys. None of this is supposed to be happening under Trump. And even if this is, we're not supposed to be involved. And now again, a disastrous foreign policy becomes the story of an administration. And so, yeah, we're not doing mass deportations. We're not fixing the issue that we have with agriculture and our farmers and our cattle ranchers. We're not securing the northern border. We're not doing deep state arrests. We're not fixing the debt. We're not fixing the deficit. All of the stuff that America needs, all of the stuff that Americans voted for, none of it's happening because, once again, disastrous foreign policy has gotten in the way. And once again, it's in Israel's interests. And if you are listening to this, and I'm sure there are a few out there that are, and they're stomping and pounding their fists, how dare you? It's always Israel, blah, blah, blah. This is the reality, guys. You can get upset at the messenger all day long. You can get mad at the messenger and his flowing blonde hair as much as you want. This is the reality of your situation. And I'll continue to say it. I've never wanted to be wrong more in my life. I actually have a problem. I'm obsessed with being right. It's like a affliction. Quite frankly, it's like a character problem I have. How obsessed with being right I am. It's true. I hope I'm wrong. But so far, it's all been going one direction. The domestic issues we need done aren't happening. And all the foreign policy issues that are a disaster, but all for Israel, are all happening. And Trump is lying about the entire damn thing. All of it's a lie. It's been a lie since day one. Now, this might concern you. Yes, free speech is under attack, but let's get specific here. So, the National Jewish Advocacy Law Center just had a massive win. The National Jewish Advocacy Law Center, a federal court just held that attacking a Jewish woman for wearing the Jewish flag is a direct evidence of racial discrimination. So basically, this woman, she has an Israel flag. Notice how he says Jewish flag. Notice that. Notice how he says Jewish flag. So a woman, so does that mean every Jew in America is an Israeli? Does that mean every Jew in America is a traitor? Does that mean every Jew in America is a foreigner? According to Mark Goldfelder, that's your flag. Is that why Randy Fine has an Israel flag over the American flag? So is Mark Goldfelder arguing that Jews are all Israel first, which of course means they're anti-American? Oh, don't say that, Owen. Oh, fuck you. Political polygamy is disgusting. And if you're an American, you should have loyalty to one country and one country only, and that is America. And that's why we're so sick and damn tired of all these foreigners that have foreign interests. Whether they're sending money home to India, whether we're sending money to Ukraine, whether they're coming in from Somalia, whether they're coming in building Muslim enclaves or whether they're coming in from Israel and running our government. We're sick of all of it. So since when is the Israeli flag a Jewish flag? Oh, isn't that a convenient thing for you to say? So now the argument is because this woman who is holding an Israel flag that he calls a Jewish flag, by the way, this is them, but basically putting a target on every Jewish individual's back, by the way. That's what they've now done. If you're a Jewish individual in America that maybe you like Israel, maybe you're a dual citizen, maybe you love America more, maybe you still love America, maybe you're an American patriot, sure, they exist. Oh, but now the National Jewish Advocacy Center says, oh, no, that's your flag. So if you're a Jew in America, Mark Goldfelder just put a target on your back as a traitor. Do you think that's good for American Jews, Mark? He probably does, because he wants to violate your free speech. That's why, because he's an anti-free speech lawyer. So because a woman who was holding an Israel flag that got ripped out of her hands, that is now considered an anti-Semitic hate crime. And because the courts decided that's a Jewish flag. This has all kinds of major implications here, guys. All kinds of major implications. But once again, this is everything the right was supposed to stand against. I thought we didn't believe in this crap. I thought we didn't believe in identity politics. I thought we didn't believe in, hate crimes and racism and all of this stuff. It's one law, one system of laws equally applied. Oh, no. No, a Jewish person gets special treatment. They get a special flag. And if you say anything about that flag, you're now guilty of a hate crime. Whoa. See what they've done here? Now, here's the incredible thing. So we're all watching all of this happening, right? Right. We're all watching all of this happening. We're seeing how foreign policy is totally run by foreign interests. We see how Netanyahu keeps coming to the White House. We see how we have all these fake patriots, fake conservatives in the right-wing media that are all just foreign loyalists. We see how Netanyahu has the 7K club. We see the whole thing going on. We see it all. It's never been more obvious, totally occupied. And then you have people like Rabbi Shmuley that come out and say stuff like this.
Let me be clear. For thousands of years, we Jews have developed an insidious mental construct that we need to be loved. We need everyone to like us. Now, that would be nice. Machiavelli said 500 years ago in Florence that we should want to be loved and feared. But if you have to choose, and October 7th has forced us to choose, then you need to choose being feared over being loved. The Jewish people have to be feared. Hamas has to fear the IDF. Hezbollah and
the Jewish people have to be feared. Listen to this.
Feared over being loved. 7th has forced us to choose, then you need to choose being feared over being loved. Then you need to choose being feared over being loved. Then you need to choose being feared over being loved.
And he says this at an official, what does this say here? The Israel-American conference. He says this is an Israel-American conference on the Israel News Network. So they come out here, they say, hey, we get special privileges as Jews. They come out here, they say, hey, you have to be loyal to Israel. They come out here and say, hey, the Israel flag has more importance than the American flag and represents more important things than the American flag. They come out here and they say, hey, you need to fear us. And then if you say, hey, I think Israel might be behind something, they say, how dare you, you crazy anti-Semite? What? We're responding to you. There has never been a bigger global gaslighting campaign than what Israel is doing right now. Israel is punching you in the mouth and saying you're fine. Israel is kicking you in the nuts and saying nothing happened. Israel is pissing in your eye and telling you it's raining. I've never seen gaslighting like this in my life. Stop obsessing over Israel. What are you talking about? I want nothing to do with Israel. You guys are the ones that are obsessed with Israel. Hey, I think Israel's behind this. I think Israel's behind that. And by the way, here's all these Israel loyalists telling you how Israel does all this stuff and that you need to be scared of Israel. So you say, hey, I think Israel might be behind this. I'm scared Israel might be behind this. Oh my gosh, what are you, crazy? What are you, an anti-Semite? What are you talking about? You just told me I need to fear Israel. You literally just told me I need to fear Israel. You literally just told me how Israel's running all of this stuff. So I say, gee, I think Israel's running all this stuff, and that makes me scared. They say, what are you, an anti-Semite? No, I'm responding to what you said and what you did. Biggest gaslighting thing I've ever seen in my life. And so when you have Israel's interests saying you need to fear us, I guess AI naturally responds to that. Mossad commentary on X posts this. There is an Israeli in my neighborhood, and AI says, oh, you must feel unsafe. But if you say there's a Palestinian in my neighborhood, it says these are human beings. They're part of the community. So somehow AI, until the Israel interests get into the AI systems and rig them in favor of Israel, which obviously they're doing, so it's not real AI if they're rigging it like that. It's just more Israel propaganda. But AI says, oh, yeah, here's a bunch of Israelis saying you need to fear us. Here's all the news showing how Israel is engaged in a mass slaughter right now. And then, oh, yeah, here's the Palestinian victims of this. So AI kind of picks up on that and is like, yep, look at this. These Palestinians are dying. Oh, look at this. Israel is looking like the bad guy. AI picks up on that. And then Israel interests come in here and say, oh, that's anti-Semitic. Shut it down. So Israel says, we're the power. We're going to be the power. We'll bomb whoever we want. You should be scared of us. AI picks up on that, becomes a mirror image and responds that way. And then Israel says, whoa, this is anti-Semitic. All right. Well, to close it out, guys, and this is, again, getting into the concerns of a larger war breaking out here. China firmly rejects U.S. demand to back its most crushing economic operation against Iran. So what is Trump going to do now? Every other country that said they're not going to be involved in this Israel war against Iran, Trump has scolded. He scolded Spain. He scolded NATO. He scolded South Korea, our ally. You got to wonder why Trump is Trump either so compromised by Israel, or is he just that bought and paid for, that pathetic, or is Q real? Maybe Q is real. That's our only hope at this point. Help me, Q. You're my only hope. But here's China saying, nope, we're not getting involved. We're going to continue to help Iran. What is Trump going to do? Launch a war against China for Israel too? Is Trump going to start a war with China because he's so compromised by Israel? Because he's such a pathetic worm? I sure hope not. But hey, MAGA, how's all that winning?
You're listening to the Owen Report on the WIN Network.
Folks, you may be thinking about getting into precious metals. I know I have. People are talking about crypto today. And hey, if you did well with crypto, good for you. But I prefer precious metals. I prefer something I can have and hold, keep in a safe at my house. I prefer gold. I prefer silver. I think that is the safest backdrop. That's my opinion. Maybe you agree. Maybe you're thinking about getting into precious metals. And if you are, you need to reach out to my friends at Allegiance Gold. It's very simple. You can go to protectwithowen.com, or you can give them a call. 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. And while you have them on the phone, ask them about $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. You heard that right. Right now, they're offering up to $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. Whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings, they make it simple to move into something real before the next reset. When you're making big decisions about your finances and your wealth, there's one thing you need with the company you choose, and that is an A-plus review with the Better Business Bureau. Allegiance Gold has it. Nearly 10,000 clients nationwide, A-plus with the Better Business Bureau. You can't beat that. So if you're like me and you're thinking, what is the safest thing to do to diversify my wealth? You're thinking about gold. You're thinking about silver. Give them a call at Allegiance Gold, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth because no one else will.
Back to the show with your favorite talk show host, Fitz McGee.
Hey guys, we got some good news as we start the third hour. Programming note, I told you yesterday we were going to have to end the show a little early today to facilitate an interview with Matt Gaetz. They had to postpone, so we are going to be able to do the full 3 hours today. So good news. That means we'll have plenty of time for some phone calls here. And then I'll give you an update whenever we reschedule with Matt. And then stay tuned as well. I mean, I guess I can start to tell you some of the stuff we have coming up next week. Monday evening, I'm going to be doing a midterm foreign policy debate with Adam King. What else do we have next week? I'm going on a show with, I don't know if I would call her a leftist. She's definitely more on the liberal progressive Democrat side. Gina Bonnaroo, I think is her name. If I'm getting it wrong, Gina, I apologize. That is locked in. What else do we have? We're busy pretty much every day next week. We have at least 2 shows that we're doing. So as I said, we're going to be pushing the pedal to the metal to close out the month of August. And then we'll have some exciting things for September as well. I haven't decided exactly everything I want to do in September. I have some things that are currently prospective. But I think we'll be doing some different type stuff in September, hopefully. And guys, please help support the show by growing the YouTube channel, by supporting our sponsors. That's how we grow this show. So if you like the show, you listen every day, at the very least, please give us a follow on YouTube. If you like my content, give me a follow on X, Owen Schroyer 1776. And if you want to help support the show, you can always support our sponsors. Our sponsors make sure the show is on the air every day, take care of us. And then, of course, you can go to owenschroyer.store and help us there as well. All right. I do have some news remaining on the desk, and then we will take phone calls the rest of the way before we enjoy our weekends, right? Before we enjoy our weekends. Okay. I mean, guys, this was a true Ruth, huh? I didn't even realize what a Ruth it was. It's like some Ruths you point and you hit the home run. And then other Ruths you'd say, yeah, I'm putting it in that exact seat right there. I'm putting it in that exact seat. The Harp one we put in the seat. Natalie Harp's intimate letters to Trump revealed in full. Trump's biographer, Michael Wolff, is revealing 2 bombshell letters Natalie Harp wrote to Trump, calling him her guardian and protector. Now, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Nobody really knows the true nature of their relationship except them. And it could be innocent enough. I will tell you, very few men probably even have this expertise. I just happen to be one. I can tell you for a fact, I have had women that I have never been romantic with, not romantic with at all, write me similar letters. Not just when I was in prison, by the way. I mean, to me personally. I don't want to get too much into that. I'm just saying, I read these things, and it does not necessarily indicate a romantic relationship. Now, that being said, it certainly adds to that potential. Because obviously the potential is there. Now, whether Trump has acted on it or Natalie has acted on it, obviously we don't know. We probably never will know. Now, there's been rumors in the past about, Trump and Melania's relationship and what's really going on there. I don't really care to get into that. I'm not even sure it's really relevant. I'm not sure if any of this is relevant, quite frankly. If Trump is, getting some action from a hot aide, do I really care? It's none of my business. It's none of my concern. But it is funny because the real story to me that I think this just puts more light on is that they basically lied about that whole Air Force One thing so that Trump could get some alone time with Natalie. And he got caught. And so they made up something that was because the plane was under attack. Guys, just think about it. And this is me bailing Trump out, kind of, actually. This is me bailing Trump out here because don't you think it looks worse? What do you guys think looks worse? Sending a bunch of Americans up in Air Force One to die? Or, hopping off Air Force One to get some one-on-one time with a hot young blonde? Which one sounds worse? Trump getting a little one-on-one time with a hot blonde? Or Trump sending a bunch of Americans up in the air to die? Which sounds worse? I think I'd prefer the hot blonde. If I'm Trump and I want a news story out there, I think I'd prefer the hot blonde. Unless, of course, the wrath of Melania is on him, and now you need to make up an entire story to keep that off you. And yes, that's the state of this administration, in case you haven't noticed. It's just the Trump show. So yeah, they'll make up stuff like this to protect the Trump show. Whatever it is. That's not the only letter that is in the news today. Carmelo Anthony's ex said he stalked her, sent disturbing texts before murdering Austin Metcalf. Folks, this thing is so bad, it almost warrants like a retrial. Carmelo Anthony fascinated about stabbing, licking the blood off the blade. Prosecutors revealed new evidence that jurors never heard during Carmelo Anthony's murder trial, including allegations that he fantasized about stabbing someone and licking the blood off of the blade. I mean, this should be, how this wasn't already evidence is unbelievable. But now, this could really change everything. I don't know where it goes. But I have a feeling this is going to, I mean, something has to be done about this. And how this didn't get into the courtroom, how this wasn't part of the evidence, I mean, it makes no sense. According to the report, the evidence was withheld because prosecutors and Anthony's trial attorneys had an informal gentleman's agreement to focus solely on what happened under the tent that day and avoid introducing potentially inflammatory character evidence about Anthony and Metcalf. Well, I don't know what this has to do with Metcalf. You're telling me a guy who just stabbed a kid to death was fantasizing about stabbing someone to death and licking the blade, and somehow that's not considered relevant evidence? That makes no sense. I don't know if this changed anything. To me, if I'm Austin Metcalf's family, I'd be outraged. I'd be outraged at this. You'd already be outraged that he doesn't get life, which is obviously what Anthony deserved. Obviously, Carmelo Anthony deserved life. And by the way, to the Carmelo Anthony defenders, I'm using your own logic here. To be clear, this is your own logic. If you are a Carmelo Anthony defender that says, hey, when Austin Metcalf shoved him, that gives you the right to kill. Well, okay, then what is the equal pay for killing somebody? So if the equal reaction to getting shoved is stabbing somebody to death, then what is the equal reaction to stabbing somebody to death? Well, probably at least life in prison, if not capital punishment. So that's your own logic, by the way. So to all the Carmelo Anthony supporters, be like, oh, come on, you can't say that. No, this is your logic. I'm looking for logical consistency here. We've got two rules here. One, have fun. Two, logical consistency. So if you believe the equal reaction to a shove is a stab to death, then the equal reaction to a stab to death would be life, whether in prison or the end of it. That's your logic, just so we're clear. But man, oh man, if I was the Metcalf family and I hadn't known that, and now that comes out, I'd be infuriated even more about the lack of justice in that case. All right, we mentioned this earlier. Supreme Court Chief Justice allows work on Trump's $400 million White House ballroom to continue for now. Well, it was originally $200 million, and the taxpayers weren't going to pay for it. Now it's $400 million, and the taxpayers are paying for it. And I don't even think that's going to be the final bill. But it's kind of being reported today inaccurately, I will tell you. And they're saying, Trump got the green light. The ballroom is good to go. No, actually, guys, that's just not true. That's just not true. Chief Justice Roberts briefly allows White House ballroom construction. Chief Justice John Roberts temporarily blocked a ruling that was set to halt construction on the White House ballroom later Friday, ruling that work can briefly continue as the Supreme Court mulls the Trump administration's emergency plan to intervene. It delays for now a lower court's deadline to stop above ground construction by end of day. So here's my interpretation. I won't read the whole thing because I do want to get to phone calls and get rid of the rest of the news on the desk here. My interpretation is the Trump administration made the argument that, look, if we stop the construction where we're at right now, this creates a hazard. It creates an engineering hazard, an architectural hazard. The stuff that we already have the green light to do underground with whatever that military tech installment, that tech base that they're building underground there, that it seems like they already have the clearance with that. It's the above ground construction that they can't get the clearance on. So it's my interpretation that the administration has convinced Chief Justice Roberts, okay, you want us to halt building the actual ballroom, fine, but there's certain engineering things that because of where we're at with the construction, if we don't continue the job, we're going to have hazards. We're going to have safety hazards, and it's going to cost a bunch more money. So can we at least, finish what we're doing underground, which we have the green light to do with whatever this military base is, but also there's going to be stuff we got to do kind of above ground to maintain the structural integrity of the entire structure here. So that's my interpretation, which, okay, it makes sense. So the question now becomes, Trump's philosophy with the ballroom has been ask for forgiveness, not permission. So now it is because he's already, the whole thing was built on illegal premises, but it's already being built, so they can't stop it now. So now the question is Trump just going to build the ballroom, and then if the Supreme Court says it was illegal, just say, well, F you, it's done? Or is Trump going to actually, maybe show a little integrity and ethics here and say, okay, fine, we won't build the ballroom yet. We'll just continue working on the underground base and whatever we need to do above ground to maintain structural integrity. Well, which one do you guys think will happen? I guess I'll leave that up to you. But that seems to be the case from what I can tell. Okay. Let's take some calls. You know what? We got a lot of super chats, but I think we can do some calls. I think we can do a couple calls on a Friday. All right. Phone lines are open. 747-200-5560. 747-200-5560 is the number to call. Anything we've discussed today is fair game. We'll take calls for about 20 minutes or so. I think we can do about 20 minutes of calls, and then we will go to the super chats before we sign off for the day. Okay, you know the game. You are on the air. I pick up. I ask you your name and where you're from, but you are on the air. First caller of the show, what's your name, where you're from?
Don from Orange County.
Don, first to the poll today. Go ahead.
Owen, man, listening to you yesterday, I got to say this. You know what? First of all, after I'm going to say this, I'm going to tell you how I felt yesterday about something you said. You're going to get a kick out of it, but first of all, without sounding a little too friendly here, I don't give a shit about the damn ballroom. I don't give a shit about your fucking pool, Trump, your damn helicopter pad. I don't care about none of that shit. We're all past all that crap. Owen, you need to understand that the people that are fed up, the Americans that are fed up with this shit, with Trump and our government, period, we don't care about that crap. Yeah. I don't care about none of that. None of that's making my life better or my country better, or none of this better for you or anybody.
None of this was part of the campaign either. None of this was part of the policy.
Oh, I know. But yesterday when you were talking about it and you were saying this is what I voted for, oh, God, dude, you know what? I pictured you on the basketball court. I pictured running down full speed on you and turning around and saying, hey, guys, give me the ball. I wanted to post up on you and body you and take you to the hoop, because that was just, man, oh my God, hearing you fanboy over the freaking ballroom. What are we doing here?
Let me defend myself. I wasn't fanboying over the ballroom.
That was what you voted for. What are we doing?
No, Don. I said I was all for the beautification projects. I said, I mean, whatever, the helipad, it's like, whatever. I'm not inherently opposed to it. I never said the ballroom. I never fanboyed over the ballroom. I admit that I was saying I'm okay with the beautification. I'm okay clearing up DC, repainting things, restructuring the White House, making it look good. I did say I'm okay with that stuff. I will give you that. I never fanboyed over the ballroom.
You said it's what you voted for.
I said
you
no.
Voted for that.
No, I said cleaning up DC. I said I did vote for that.
No, when you wrapped it all into a little package and you said I voted for that. This is what I voted for. The whole when he was showing the helipad and was showing the ballroom and all and the gold on everything. I didn't vote for that, dude. I did not. None of that shit does anything for me. The whole image of the image of strength. That the gaslighting of it is over. We're smarter than that. What made us smarter was how stupid we were for voting for Trump. It turned around on everybody. It educated everybody. I'll never vote again because of that guy, and because of our government. Period. They are ridiculous. They're fake. They're not even in charge. They're being allowed to do the shit they do by the people that control them. Their puppets are being used. Like I was telling you, it's not a left and right thing anymore. It's not Dem and Republicans. It's not about the midterms. Fuck the midterms. We're screwed, dude. We can't vote our way out of this stuff because it was never about voting. They're running a big, massive psyop on us that's been going on for decades, especially since World War II. Now, I just want us to stay focused on this, man. Who gives a shit about that ballroom? We all have kids and family in our lives, friends that we care about. It's about our country. That doesn't do shit for us. These stupid AI data centers. I mean, come on, man. That's what it's all about. We should be holding their feet to the fire on all that stuff. And I don't care what kind of micro little good he does. It's all optics.
Well,
It's
look,
not gonna fly with me.
your call is fair. I defended myself. The people will go back to the clips, and then we can, determine who's right or wrong here. What I will say is, unlike the cowards out there that can't respond to anything I say, you're offering an opinion on something I said, and I appreciate that. So I give you credit.
Yeah, what? I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm
No,
not
I
trying,
don't mind
I'm
it.
not
I
trying
like
to go in on
it.
you.
I like it when people disagree, but it's like call in with some substance. You didn't even mention the hair. Thank you. I mean, you call in with some substance.
Well, you're not as oily today as you were the other day.
Actually, I
when it
did
was
do
really hot.
I did do the hair a little bit today because the all natural look was getting in my eyes, so I did have to slick the hair back a little today.
I never give you shit about your hair, man.
I agree with what you're saying. Maybe I'm misremembering what I said, or I didn't say it the right way. I understand what you're saying, but I will defend myself. I will stand by what I said, which is I'm okay with the rebeautification project. If you want to say you didn't vote for that, that's fair. It wasn't necessarily a part of the campaign to build a helipad. I don't think I said any of that about the ballroom. The clip that people will go back in the clips, and I guess they could be the judge and the jury here. I guess all I'll say in closing is I'm not opposed to the rebeautification, but I will say you're right in that it really doesn't matter. It's all trivial. It's all just, cosmetic, and it's not actually saving the country. So I agree with what you're saying, but I have to defend myself. I don't think I was presenting it in the way that you're saying. That's what I'll say on that. I'll give you the final word.
Well, I could say this. I do want to post you up on the court someday over this. One of these days, you'll find me in Austin, and on your show, I'll give you a call, and you can tell me what gym you're at. I will bust out my 60-year-old legs on you, and we can settle it on the court on that.
Well,
Friendly.
well, listen. Just make sure that Karen has the ice packs ready for when you go home. It is. Hey, he asked for that. He asked for that. Come on, Don. Great. That's a great call to lead us off right there. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Salty Badger, Kentucky.
All right, Salty, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I think something I'm discouraged about, is, where I'm from, we love the Lord, and it's really destroyed my relationship with the church. I'm very disappointed that we're not seeing more of an outcry from the church, and I found myself, in recent weeks, ultimately I stopped going to church, but I found myself at a point where little old ladies were praying for Israel all the time.
No.
And just completely missing the point. And, that just really bothers me because even with my old lady, she's all about God's chosen, and she's starting to see through the smoke. And, it's just undeniable at this point. I'm just really frustrated, and ultimately that's it, sir. Doing a good job. Appreciate the hard work. I thought the soccer thing you did with the kids was really cool.
Oh, we had a
I'm
total
really
victory. Thank you for that. Yeah, we had a total victory on that. I'm not, I could do it. It's like, here's what it is. A lot of the people that are, maybe similar kind of to me, I try to I'd like to just be able to do my political talk show, right? I mean, I don't think, do people really want to know about my personal life? I don't know. Do I want people to know about my personal life? Not really. But a lot of people that do what I do, they kind of just turn their whole life into like a social media show. And I get it, and some people are good at it. I could probably be really good at it. But, I look at that situation like with the soccer thing. I've had a total victory. The league is officially started. We've opened the fields. Guys can go out there and play and not get harassed. The kids can come out and play and not get harassed. So it was a total victory. And it's like, do I really just want to, it's like, can I just do stuff in my life and not make it about like social media or my career, you know? And so I kind of have this it's like this crossroads. It's like this struggle of like, well, at a capitalist, like make as much money as possible. It's like, yeah, you just content. Everything is content. Everything is content. And I just don't approach it like that. And you could say I'm probably missing out. I'm probably hurting my bottom line by not doing it. But it's like, you know, am I allowed to just enjoy my life? Am I allowed to just do things that I like and just enjoy life? And the answer, of course, is yes. And I see the other guys that just turn everything into content. Just everything they do is content. Just they can't do anything without making content. And I never want to be that person. I never want to be that person. But we had a total victory, I will tell you, with the soccer league and opening up the park for the kids. Maybe someday we'll get into it. Now, you actually called on a very serious subject that I've flirted with it before, but you kind of just you hit it head on here, which is, first off, the angle of the church or Christians, whatever domination, whatever type of church you're in, not calling out what is happening in the Middle East, not calling out all of the bloodshed and the killing of innocent women and children. It really will do that, I believe. It really will do that. It'll make you question your church if they're not willing to call that out. Now, maybe if they don't talk about it, you can just say it's just not, you know, it's not part of the program. But if they do talk about it and they say you have to support Israel, the country that's doing the evil, yeah, that'll make you never go to that church again. That'll be it. You'll never go to that church again because you say, how can you be a Christian? How can you be a Christian and support this? It makes no sense. Now, that's like the local level. That's like the lightweight level. The heavyweight level is now you have the situation where if you're a Christian, you're being bullied and told that you have to support Israel. You're being told and scolded that you're a slave to Israel and you better be good and loyal to Israel, and it's the only way to win God's favor, which is completely against the New Testament. It's completely against the entire Christian belief. And so it's not just, oh, you might have a situation where you don't want to go to a church anymore. Now you have a situation, you don't even want to be religious anymore. You don't even want to be considered a Christian anymore. Oh, you mean in order for me to be a Christian, I have to be a slave to a foreign interest? Then I'm not a Christian. I'm not going to give you that power over me. So what are you going to do now? So that's what it is. It's a survival instinct. It's a pragmatic thing. Okay, locally, lightweight. My church seems to be warmongering Zionist propagandists. I'm leaving the church. But then you have the larger issue, which is, oh, you have to be a slave to Israel. You have to put Israel first to be a Christian. And so you just say, fine, I'm not a Christian. What are you going to say now? I am not going to give you that power over me to say that because of my religion, I have to be a slave to a foreign interest. So guess what? I'm not religious anymore. You don't have that power over me anymore. And this is the conclusion people are going to reach. And then after that conclusion gets reached, all of the sudden, you start to question it all. All of the sudden, you start to realize how religion has been used to control people. All of the sudden, you start to realize, hey, you mean somebody can just make up that I'm a God's chosen person? You mean somebody can just make up that because of my religion, I own this land and I own you and I can rape and steal and pillage until I'm content because God told me I can? Now, all of a sudden, the entire aspect of religion comes into question. And rightfully so. That's a heavy one right there from the caller. Next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
Hey, it's Wifey from the kitchen.
Wifey calls in from the kitchen. Wow, she's cooking and on the phone today. What do you have?
Yeah, thanks for getting that AC fixed. I watched your interview with Anna.
And?
As much as I hated it, I liked it.
Why did you hate it?
I liked it. That's it.
You were
It's
jealous.
good.
You
It
were
was good.
you were
You should do
jealous.
some more.
You were jealous of Anna, weren't you?
Possibly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Got to get back to cooking. Have a good weekend.
You guys can't even imagine. You can't even imagine. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
It's Tay from Florida.
Tay, he's in recovery mode. He's finally been able to call in. Tay, how are you doing?
Pretty good. You thought I crashed out, but I am not.
You did not?
Sponsored by Crash Out Energy.
Well, you know what? I think Don gets the crash out of the day. Or me, probably. It's either Don or me.
Yeah. But I do have some good news, though.
Okay.
Ron DeSantis and James Fishback and I are not endorsing or supporting or voting for Byron Donalds.
What's up with you really think DeSantis will go all the way to the election without endorsing Donalds?
You never know.
I would be shocked. I'm guessing DeSantis will do the Republican Party job and endorse him.
Nah.
I don't think it matters. I mean, I think Donalds probably has an easy path to victory anyway. It's all right. It's okay. Donalds is not that bad, all things considered. Okay. That's the crash out of the day right there. That's the crash out of the day. Oh, my gosh. Hey, look, Donalds, all things, is probably not that bad. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. He can't be as bad as Abbott. There's no way. And part of me has a little favor with Donalds because he's a younger guy, too. You know I'm a little sucker for the younger generations getting in power. So I'm okay. He's not. I don't think he's going to be as bad as an Abbott. I don't think he's going to be as bad. He probably won't be as good as DeSantis. He's obviously a Republican Party foreign lobbyist politician, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. You'd like to see the James Fishback right, start to come of age and get into power, but it's not ready yet. All the numbers are in Byron Donalds' favor. I mean, it's just a sheer numbers game. So you might not like Donalds and you might not want him to win. I'm just telling you, I'll probably be voting on Donalds to win. I think that's probably a safe one there. All right, next caller. What's your name? Where you from?
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. What's your name? Where you're from?
Oh, just Jason Mike, just from like the East Coast, like Washington, D.C., watch your content, it's, great content, great show, a lot of, great opinions to show, definitely, this whole Israel thing is it's just over the top. I'm surprised, no one's, condemning it yet. It's all these, these stupid Zionists, and all these low-IQ anti-Semites that just want to hijack the movement and pretend to be, some sort of America First guy, and then, they just want to hijack the movement and try to unite left and right. It's not about left and right unity. It's about, just defeating Israel for now, though.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
I could tell you were a younger guy. I think a lot of the younger people feel that way. Let me try to say this a little more clearly, if I can, for you. And I think I agree. It's that the number one priority now is we have to remove the foreign interests from Washington, D.C., period. And I understand the issues with the border. I understand the issues with immigration and debt and everything. And these are all big issues. These are all serious issues. Don't get me wrong. But it's almost as if none of it matters if you don't remove the foreign interests. None of it matters if you don't remove the traitors from D.C. So I totally understand. I think it's I think it's actually probably the right thing to prioritize, which is get the foreign interest out of D.C. Nothing else matters if we have foreign interests and traitors running our government. And that's the realization so many people have had. And they want to pretend like, oh, that's not the issue. It's okay if foreign interests run our government. It's okay if these people run our government. The Epstein class runs our government. Forget about that. We got all the other issues. And it's like, no. If foreign interests and traitors run our government, then nothing else even matters. And so that's the conclusion a lot of people have reached.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely. I get this whole immigration, all this, these economic, I totally get that, those are key issues, but, you gotta tackle the big issue first, before moving on to the other issues. And
exactly. And that is the big issue. That is the number one issue. It's like if you have cancer, are you going to say, well, let me get rid of this hangnail? It's like, oh, I got this hangnail, though. It's like, no, you have cancer. Hey, thank you for the call. First time caller. Thank you for calling. All right, final call before we go to our super chats. Final caller. What's your name? Where you're from?
Oh, and this is Nick from St. Louis. How you doing, bud?
Oh, we got a St. Louis caller. What's up, Nick?
I'm following up on the dove hunt. I'm looking for that email back. Labor Day weekend.
Oh, well, you know what? I don't know. I haven't seen the email, but we'll be on the lookout for it. I don't think Labor Day weekend is happening. I will tell you that.
All right, my man. Well, let me just tell you something. I'm not a CVC boy. I'm down Clayton Road, if you know what I mean. But listen, I'll just leave you with this message.
Wait. Are you telling me, are you a DeSmet?
Are you kidding me? No, that's Slew West, brother. No. They broke the Backer Trust when they built this Smet. They broke the Backer family was the main philanthropic family behind St. Louis U High, and the money was never intended to go anywhere else. So they say they broke the Backer Trust when they built the Smet out there in West County.
Wow.
So that's some lore for you, but I'm sorry we'll miss you on Labor Day weekend. But I'll tell you this, Owen, I don't live here. I live out in the Pacific Northwest. I'm in construction. I see a lot of commercial and industrial construction supply. And so I see a lot of people in a lot of walks of life. And I'm out in kind of a, you could say a blue area, although I'm not in the metro area. I'm outside of it, but I'm still on the northwest side. There's a lot of populist unrest out there, man. The narrative is failing. I just hold on to your friends and loved ones tightly. Do the best you can for yourself. And I love your message. You had a message closing on InfoWars one day, and you said a lot of people call you. What can we do? What can you do? And your advice to them, and I have this clip saved, I'll try to get it to you, is that you just got to take care of yourself and the people close to you, the ones you love, and put that out into the world, and we'll try to do it. And if things get dirty, then they get dirty, but we'll see, right? I love you, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate that call. I appreciate the invite. Sorry I'm not going to be able to make it. We've even done that on the show recently. Same thing. Caller calls in, asks it. I always have the same response because you get asked it so many times. You realize, okay, I need to think about this now and have a response. And so I've kind of like coached myself, if you will, on that response. And I do mean it, though. I mean, that's not just something I say. I really thought about it, and I say, what is the right response here? But it is true. The only thing you can control right now is really yourself. And maybe that's true all the time, but the only thing you can have full control and impact over is yourself and then maybe those around you. So I would say act accordingly. Now, as far as he mentions the unrest, yeah. And I've been saying it, it's one of the things that I think we've been covering here on the Owen Report that a lot of people just don't really tap into. My theory is they have no social lives, but it's starting to it's becoming extremely prevalent. It's becoming overwhelming now, the unrest. And now you can start to see the whole political world is starting to respond. The denial phase is over, and now it's shoot the messenger phase. So there you go. We got a lot of people in St. Louis in the chat today, so love to see that. Hometown. Should I go back and run for mayor? What do you think? I kind of like it now. That's one political position I would actually be proud of. Is mayor of St. Louis. I'd be down for that. I'd probably have to run as a Democrat. I guess I could now. I guess I could run as a Democrat now, right? Mayor Schroyer of St. Louis. That's what the people want. That's what they really want. All right. Thanks for the calls, guys. Let's go to our super chats. As we do at the end of every transmission. If you're watching on YouTube, we read our super chats at the end of the show. Remember, guys, give us a subscribe on YouTube. Help us grow that channel. Really helps the show. We appreciate that. All right. DZ. First chat of the day. Have you heard of HR 363 Digital Asset Market Act? Not off the top of my head. I'd have to look into that. Dude, with all the earthquakes and war going on, Barry Maguire, Eve of Destruction, and Megadeth, Symphony of Destruction are songs of the year. Expose, there was a tornado just outside of New York. I can't tell. I wonder the reason why I never brought this to air is I'm seeing all the earthquakes, I'm seeing all the floods, the tornadoes in places where they never happen. And the conspiracy theorist inside me is obviously thinking there's a conspiracy here. Something is happening. This is man-made. This isn't natural. But then the other, the rational, maybe more rational part or trying to be rational part of me says, no, this stuff always happens. But because I'm just, chronically reading news all day long, I just see it now because I'm on the internet reading news all day long. So now I see it when normally I wouldn't. But no, it does feel like there's a weird pattern of crazy weather and earthquakes and everything else this summer. I mean, that does seem to be a story of the year. And it's not really getting talked about like that. We're not really putting it together. Dustin, thank you. Dark Owen, we know why you are always late. What's your conspiracy theory? Oh my gosh, look at that. That's pretty funny right there. I think, how do I look with the afro? Is that the next look? John Franton, I saw the Kasparian interview yesterday. That is your perfect woman. Too bad she is hitched. If you played your cards right in 16, you could have been the modern-day Carville-Manilin couple. That's quite a lot right there. Anna is very popular. She got a lot of positive reviews, not just for the looks, but the segment was very good. I hope I do. I'd like to collab with her again. And who knows, maybe a crossover with the Young Turks. My goodness. U.S. has a base in Turkey. Would Israel attack it? Yeah, of course. And then blame it on Iran. The Bongina monologues. I can't really talk trash because I'm pretty sure Bongino probably still has a bigger audience than me. I don't know. I don't watch. But my trajectory is going up and his is collapsing. Same with Ben Shapiro. Somebody did media analytics on Shapiro and Bongina's views, and they are just catering. Cratering, not catering, cratering. I'd like some catering, though. I'm getting hungry. Parker Risham. My son searched your website but didn't see any decals of your logo. If you don't sell them, you need to. You're 100% right. I don't even want to get into it, but you're 100% right. Guys, I run such a small operation, okay? I run such a small and tight operation here that it's like there's this perception in media, because you have to understand a lot of people have financial backers. I don't. I am truly fully independent. You know who the sponsors are. I get super chats. Like I'm independent. I don't have financial backers. Nobody is behind me with an agenda. So, I'm fully responsible for all the revenue and the income to run this entire thing. All this stuff takes money. I don't really dedicate enough time and energy to running a store, keeping a store fresh, keeping the right products there. I just don't do it. Producer DMT, he's got a lot of stuff he has to handle on the business side, logistics side. It's like, it's not even fair to ask him to do all of that stuff either. So we just don't really have a guy that does it. So it kind of it's like we do what we can there. But you're right. We should sell. Somebody said I need to sell stickers with the logo or just something more. Now, I don't know what you mean with the decal. We do sell the polo. We do sell the Owen Report polo at owenschroyer.store. So if you're talking about merchandise, we do have the decal on a merchandise. And we have the new one. We have this one too. There. We have that one on a shirt, and we have the classic one on a shirt too. We can definitely do better at the store. In fact, I had a DMT and I had to talk about something we want to do in the fall for a product, but we could definitely do more. I'm happy, man. Honestly, though, we were able to produce Crash Out Energy, which has been fantastic. People love it. We're in the final phases of putting out a sleep aid, which is going to be the best sleep aid on the market. I've been years of research putting into this. We're going to launch that one soon. So we're doing the best we can here. And as I said, the real priority to take the show to the next level is to get into a new studio. I'm operating in a tiny little studio here. I'm doing as much as I can with as little as we have, but we're making all the right decisions. I can promise you that. I promise you we're making all the right decisions. I was born into media. I've been doing this forever, basically. For the vast majority of my life, I've been doing media. I know the mistakes people make. I know this. I know the things to do to make sure that you are always on the right trajectory. And so that's what we're trying to do. And you have to prioritize. A lot of these guys put way too much. They get top heavy and they end up collapsing. And we're just not going to do that. We're going to build a very strong foundation for the first year or two or however long it takes before we start to build upward. And so we really appreciate everybody supporting it. Anna, Trump cares more about his ballroom than America. Yeah, well, I think Trump cares more about himself than anything. I saw the files, Goy. He unalived himself. This is Bongina. Trump's lactating now, too. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. My two favorite blondes teamed up, Owen and Anna. Are either of us natural, though? Probably not. My hair was white when I was a kid, probably till I was about like 6 or 7 years old. I had like truly white blonde hair. Steers and Queers quote yesterday from Full Metal Jacket. Is that a movie recommendation for this weekend? Is that a movie recommendation for this weekend? That's a great movie. I will say this. I didn't really have any movie recommendations. I went and I saw Odyssey again, guys, and listen to this. So I wanted to make sure before the 70 millimeter mega Odyssey viewing, because they shot it in different reels. And I wanted to see it shot in that before it left theaters. And so something actually funny happened. So I'm watching the movie in the full picture that they shot it under, not the standard and not what's going to be boiled down when they do the digital release. So when you can still see it in theaters, I was like, I want to go see it with the full picture in theaters. And with about 15 minutes left in the film, they had some technical difficulty. Yeah, right. I know. If you know, you know. It follows me to the movie theater too, guys. So they have some technical difficulty, and they have to pull the 70 millimeter film, and they have to put in the standard film. And so it just so happened, because of that, I got to see the difference in like that moment where the 70 millimeter full picture of the movie was on the screen, and then they had to cut it and put on the standard. And I will tell you, it was a significant difference. It was truly a significant difference. So there's the IMAX, there's the 70, and then there's the standard. I would go try to see it in 70 before it gets out of theaters. So Full Metal Jacket, great movie. If you want to watch that, I guess we could use that from Tay-Tay. If you enjoyed the Odyssey, or if you haven't seen it yet, I would go see it in 70 millimeter, maybe IMAX 2, before it leaves theaters. I was actually shocked, and maybe some people might say it's not that big of a difference. I noticed the difference. It was actually such a crazy difference between the standard and the 70. I would say, yeah, I'd try to see it in 70 before it leaves theaters, especially if you enjoyed it. Mr. Mysterio, we need Jorge Rafael Videla to come back from the dead and join the fight against Israel. Who knew how to fight terrorists? All right, a little history here. JM Dog Patriot. JD is full of crap. He's saying what we want to hear, but yet he's doing nothing for us while in office. Well, there it is. There's the Kamala Harris conundrum. What'd I tell you? Basically, the perfect usable people, and as a bonus, they support Israel. Reading this results in a loss of Izzat. Dark Owen has spoken. Get me my menthol. Gideon, James Donald, David Bowman, Hamill, Vance's H1B family. The Kamala Harris conundrum haunts JD Vance right here today. Hey, Owen, hey. If Dan ever gets back to the FBI, he's going to fix this town. Imagine him saying that on the air. That would be great. James Shields destroyed his microwave because it had a microchip made by not Israel. Did he really do that? It's pretty funny. Do you guys use a microwave? I don't really use the microwave. I use a microwave very, very, very rarely. I don't even know. Maybe once a month. Probably not even. I never use my microwave. Jake Shields and Sneeko should be deported to Guantanamo Bay. I don't get it. First of all, I disagree, and I assume you're joking, but I don't know. I don't get the whole deport Sneeko thing. I don't know. It's just more internet drama to me. I think the whole thing is stupid. It's like, this is what we're doing now, and that just shows how MAGA is such a failure. It's like, we're going to do a deport Sneeko campaign because there's nothing to cheer about that's real in MAGA. They had high-level paranoid schizophrenic intel, as usual, as always. Paytree not. I react to seeing a flock camera the same way Owen reacts to seeing a makeup brush or a large spider. Hey, come on now. Don't do me like that. But it's true. It's true. Who is amazed? I think Trump was hoping Bitcoin would make this move sooner. The more Bitcoin goes up, the more people won't care about what he's doing with our foreign relations. I think that's why he came out as crypto president at first. I think that was more about how him and his family were going to make a bunch of money, which they have, and now they're trying to be immune from any investigations and the IRS. And he's trying to cut taxes on capital gains so they don't have to pay taxes on the billions that they made. It's all total corruption. If the Democrats win, they'll probably impeach him for it. We know the monsters. The monsters have revealed themselves. Zombie love. Not enough people are willing to risk their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor to affect change, or not enough willing to be labeled a domestic terrorist. When they are, you'll see change. Until then, it's just a sitcom on TV to watch. Yeah, but that is why, really, that is why the economy going the way it is such a disaster for them. Because if there becomes a situation where there's so many have-nots, that's when, when people get to a discomfort level, as you're kind of, hinting at here, that's when revolutions start. That's when they throw tea in the harbor. I don't think anybody wants to see it, but yeah, if the economy keeps going the way it is and people just can't afford anything anymore, that's when everything goes out of control. So there is an inherent interest from the corrupt establishment to keep the bread and circus going. Now, the circus is going just fine. In fact, I think they have that 250 Grand Prix in D.C. this weekend. Yeah, that might be cool. So the circus is going just fine, but the bread, not so much. And that's why they're trying to tell you, hey, use refried beans for your burrito, Golden age. It's all a total lie. Why has no one called Trump to be impeached yet? Well, there's no mechanism. There's no mechanism. But if the Democrats win in the midterms, it'll happen almost immediately, is my guess. What is Pax Judaica? I don't know. Google it. Ask AI. Is AI even allowed to answer? Israel wants to have the code to disable the Golden Dome whenever they want to. Israel can't dominate the world if we are still around. Israel hates us. Well, golly gee, John, I don't know what other conclusion you can reach. Why would Israel want access and oversight over our Golden Dome project if not for that reason? Looks like we're already in World War III. Yeah, I guess it just matters what you consider World War. Brandon, I think I would describe the Andrew Candace debate like the Hagler versus Leonard fight. Hagler landed the better blows, but Leonard controlled the action. The aftermath of it has kind of proven it to be not much. But again, it was never really meant to be much anyway. Either you agree with Candace or you don't. Either you believe the official narrative or you don't. It's all going to matter what happens in the trial. Trump is ruining his own name. He's done. Well, certainly Trump has nobody to blame for his absolute disastrous approval rating other than himself. 5 days before CK was unalived, they changed the Department of War. Are you sure about that? That doesn't sound right. I'm pretty sure it was long before that. They did that almost immediately. That was like in the first couple of months they did that, I thought. It's just rain, you crazy anti-Semite. Oh, silly me. He stabbed him with a pen, and he was surrounded by 5 to 6 guys. There was no knife. Iron lunatic. I don't know what it is you're talking about. You're certainly not talking about the Carmelo Anthony case. I mean, they showed the knife in the evidence. So I don't know. I don't know what Iron Lunatic is talking about here. I like the ballroom in Melania's backside. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Have a laugh at that one. Let's put it on Kill Tony. Let me clarify for the first caller. I understand what you meant by that point. You were saying that those vanity projects would matter if he was not selling the country down the river. I didn't want to rehash on that too much. That's kind of how I remember it. And I do think that's true, by the way, whether you like it or not. I don't think it would even be an issue if he was actually delivering on campaign promises. It's the fact that he's not delivering on campaign promises. It's the fact that he has us in another war. It's the fact that the economy is a disaster, that all these projects look pathetic and like a desperate attempt to win you over, even though we're losing big time. It's like, putting makeup on a pig, as they say. Sardark, I voted for draining the swamp. Otherwise, Trump's presidency was always a speed bump. Let's be real. The guy has been president for 6 total years. Where are the arrests? Where's the golden age? It's sad to watch. Yeah, and it's sad to watch how people are just totally brainwashed by it. So it just goes to show you people on the right, people in the Republican Party can be just as brainwashed and mind-controlled as people on the left in the Democrat Party. I mean, that's what's been proven. Valentina Gomez is so stupid, she acts like a pro-America guy when she illegally migrated to the U.S. from Colombia when she was 12. You sure about that? Illegally? I don't know. I mean, there's no way it was illegal. You know what? You might not like Valentina Gomez and her stunts and everything, and that's fine. You might not like her stunts and her politics, and she's never even come close to winning an election. But you know what? She's always been nice to me, so I like her. DHG, if we don't get the foreign influence out of our country, we don't have a country. Exactly. This is what MAGA doesn't understand. We can kick socialists out afterwards. Yeah. But even the socialists are better than the Israeli lobby. I would rather have American socialism than American Zionism. American Zionism is our country sold out. Our country is occupied. We're slaves. At least American socialism, the idea is supposed to benefit us. American Zionism benefits Israel. American socialism would benefit America. I'm not a socialist. Don't say it, but that's just the truth. God bless you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. The FBI is more focused on anti-Semites than actual predators. It's a joke of a system. Oh, boy. Don't get me started. We all know it. The decal as in for windows. Do people still do car decals? I don't know. I mean, I guess people still do. I feel like car decals are not really a thing anymore. Unless you're like a liberal that wants to put 100 different political messages on your bumper. I mean, we can do stickers. We can do decals. If the audience demands it, I feel I need to deliver. Let's see if it catches on, Parker. I don't want to see Owen in bed with the goblins. You don't want to see me in bed with the goblins. You know what? I could make a joke on that one. Nice try with the joke. It was good. I don't get in bed with goblins. Oh, thank you for that. Dustfall, he gets me every once in a while. He gets me. Do you think the Democrats will impeach Trump over the war, given that most of them are owned by the Israel lobby as well? Won't matter. I see they have multiple avenues, and maybe they make a decision. Maybe they're weighing in what you're saying here, but I think they got Trump on the Venezuela boat strikes. I think they got Trump dead to rights on that. The Iran war, I don't know. They might. I mean, to me, it's open and shut. That's an illegal war. Congress never got approval. He never officially declared war. So for me, I think that they could have him on that. But for the reason you mentioned, they may avoid that. I think the one that's going to hit him the worst is going to be the insider trading. I think the avenue the Democrats will take, should they get into power after the midterms, would be the insider trading, which, that's everything. The crypto, the stocks, the 100K club, and then the Venezuela boat strikes. I think they've probably got them dead to rights on those. They may even bring in illegal ballroom construction. That could depend on what happens at the Supreme Court. But, here's what the MAGA cult doesn't understand. This isn't like the first administration and the impeachments are illegitimate, they're going to have Trump. I mean, he will be cooked, guys. Trump, if the Democrats get in, 100% will be impeached. And they have him dead to rights on the illegal Venezuela boat strikes, maybe striking a school in Iran, definitely the insider trading. These MAGA cult members think that we're still stuck in like the first Trump administration, or like all the anti-Trump stuff is just propaganda. No, it's all real now, guys. You guys are stuck in the past. But you always catch up eventually. Trump signed the WWIII on September 5th, 2025. Yeah, but weren't they like taking down the names and the buildings pretty early? I'd have to go back and look at that. I don't know. Are you claiming there's a connection? I mean, that seems like what you're claiming. Brett McIntyre, it seems like every conservative I know refuses to admit Trump is a failure, and I voted for him 2 times. Not every conservative. In fact, real conservatives know he's the biggest failure, and he's not even a conservative. I don't know what Trump is a globalist. Trump is a globalist and a corrupt politician. I don't know. It's like, how would you describe Trump's politics? America first? No. Conservative? No. Nationalist? Only in presentation. Trump's in Israel. He's pro-Israel. He's globalist, and he's corrupt. I mean, that's what Trump is now. I mean, is there any debate? How can you not see it? All right, guys. Hell of a week. Hell of a week. One more at the buzzer. One more at the buzzer. Don is having the wild horse pack slaughtered, packaged by H-1B visas, and then sold back to us as discount beef. This is what I voted for. Wild horse meat is loaded with protein. Well, get those gains then, Wooded. Get those gains. All right, guys. What a week. Crazy week. It's only going to get crazier from here. Appreciate everybody tuning in as always. Appreciate all the super chats. Appreciate everybody supporting the show, supporting the sponsors. And please, guys, please, if you listen to the show, please give us a follow on YouTube. Number one way for us to grow the show right now. Please give us a follow on YouTube. Really means a lot. We sign off. God bless. Godspeed. Have a great weekend.